armies have broken through our defense lines. They are following the closest routes, intending to advance straight to the great Xiao imperial city. Clearly, they want a quick victory. According to battle reports from all over, many devil generals suspected of reaching the combination realm have appeared, and we can't even rule out the possibility of a great ascension devil marshal being in command. Hearing this, the faces of the generals all showed solemn expressions. After a moment, a general hesitantly spoke up. This time, the devils suddenly launched a large-scale campaign, determined to occupy the great Zhu imperial palace. Could it be that there is some treasure in the imperial palace that they crave? As soon as these words were spoken, the faces of the other generals immediately changed, their eyes secretly glancing towards a dignified man wearing golden armor and a red cloak. That was the crown prince, the heir to the throne of Great Zhou. The crown prince pondered for a moment, then said, "This prince understands what you mean, but unfortunately, even I don't know if there is any treasure in the palace worth their taking actions." The general who had spoken hurriedly cupped his hands and apologized. "Your Highness, this subordinate misspoke. Please forgive me." The crown prince waved his hand, but replied with dignity. "It's all right. This time the devils are invading on a large scale. What we need to do is to resist with all our might. If we can't stop them, protect as many people as possible, and lead them out of the territory. As long as people are alive, there is still hope." The general sighed. The crown prince cares about the people. It is truly the blessing of Great Zhu. The crown prince sighed. This was only the worst case scenario, hoping that at that time, other forces in Kangzhou could show consideration for being of the same human race, and lend a hand to help Great Zhou resist the devils. At this moment, a commotion suddenly sounded outside the military tent. A general suddenly changed his expression, saying in shock, "How strange could it be that the devils are attacking?" As soon as these words were spoken, a vice-general hurriedly ran into the main tent, his voice urgent. "Reporting to your Highness, there is a new situation outside. Please come and see." Could it be that the devils are playing some trick? The crown prince pondered slightly, then immediately led the generals out of the main tent. When they saw a strange, colossal creature appearing on the horizon, manipulating majestic air currents as it plunged down, their faces changed drastically, their eyes filled with disbelief. A general trembled, hastily shouting, What kind of strange beast is this? Why did this kind of monster appear in our great zoo? Quickly order the entire army to prepare for battle. Stop it!" the crown prince sternly shouted, his eyes filled with respect as he looked towards the colossal creature. "Don't act rashly. This is the divine beast Kun Peng." As the Kun Peng landed atop the main tent, Wang Defa immediately jumped to the ground, kneeling on one knee, and respectfully said, "Tiger Leopard Cavalry Commander, greets His Highness the Crown Prince." The Crown Prince hastily asked, "Commander Wang, what's going on? Could this divine beast have something to do with our great Chu?" Wang Defa replied in a deep voice, "Your Highness, this divine beast has an owner, and that person has agreed to help Great Chu." Gasp! Everyone simultaneously inhaled sharply, riding a Kun Peng as a mount, who in the entire eastern region is capable of such a feat. The Crown Prince was also extremely shocked, but what shook him the most was the information Wang Defa had just revealed. He quickly asked, "Commander Wang, is this true? Is that senior really willing to help Great Chu overcome this crisis?" Wang Defa replied, "This is absolutely true." The Crown Prince was overjoyed. With such powerful assistance, he suddenly felt that Great Chu had hope. He then asked, "What is that senior's title? After everything is successful, Great Chu will definitely repay them." Wang Defa hurriedly replied, "Your Highness, that senior is named Ye Junlin." Hearing this, the Crown Prince paused slightly, his heart skipped a beat, and he asked tentatively, Ye Junlin? The white-haired god of slaughter from the Xuantian sect?" Wang Defa was startled, and quickly lowered his voice to remind him, "Your Highness, please be careful of your words. Venerable Ye is actually very amiable, not at all the cruel devil that people say." Gulp, he felt a lump in his throat. This amiable didn't seem to fit Venerable Ye at all. The Feather Transformation sect lost an army of tens of thousands of cultivators because of him, including 18 core elders at the Great Vehicle stage. This was 100% true. The Crown Prince took a deep breath, stepped forward a few paces, and respectfully clasped his hands, saying, "The Crown Prince of Great Chu greets Venerable Ye." He dared not be negligent in the slightest. If this person was displeased, he feared that he could level the capital in the blink of an eye. His 600,000-strong army probably wouldn't even qualify as a warm-up. Suddenly, from the distant horizon, a dense black mist like rolling wave surged forth. Sinister laughter echoed in the sky. Hey, you humans better surrender obediently and become sacrifices for our demon race." The Crown Prince was enraged and about to speak when he heard Ye Junlin order Hong Tianye and Li Wuji. "How annoying. You two go take care of them." Li Wuji and Hong Tianye replied, "As you command, master." Whoosh! Immediately afterward, Hong Tianye and Li Wuji shot off, transforming into two streams of light flying straight towards the surging demon army. Behind the demon army, 10 demon marshals radiating terrifying auras hid in the black mist, secretly observing and transmitting their thoughts. "It's laughable that we need to mobilize such a large force to conquer a small human kingdom. You all must not be careless." It's said that this kind of dynasty is different from sects, often blessed by national fortune. The Demon King is being cautious, and wants to probe the strength of the Chu Emperor first. In any case, 800,000 against 600,000, the advantage is still ours. Most importantly, the myriad races of the Dark Abyss are emerging together this time. Our demon race must seize the initiative. This concerns the rise and fall of our entire race. That's right, this world collapsing is only a matter of time anyway. When the rulers of the eastern region change, we will also gain a certain voice based on our contributions. At this moment, Hong Tianye and Li Wuji landed not far from the demon army. seeing waves of demon creatures surging below. The demons exclaimed, "Look, those are two humans. Shh, lower your voices so you don't scare the prey. We'll slowly approach them." Li Wuji looked ahead, the corners of his mouth curving up madly. The killing intent in his heart could no longer be suppressed as he said, "Senior brother Hong, my junior brother's saber technique is clumsy. Please allow me to show off my poor skills." His right hand gripped the hilt of his saber, abruptly drawing out a pitch-black long saber. Whoosh! In that instant, Li Wuji's aura instantly changed. From a carefree swordsman he transformed into a devil, as if wanting to slaughter the entire world. His cold voice echoed in all directions. Chop! The ink-black saber shadow swept across, transforming into a giant abyss swallowing everything, chopping off the heads of a large number of demon creatures. Miserable screams echoed to the heavens. Ah! Many demon creatures were so frightened that their souls scattered. They exclaimed in horror, "Which human powerhouse has attacked?" Li Wuji heavily exhaled, recalling the move he had just used in his mind, feeling as if it was still a bit imperfect. Boom! At this moment, a terrifying aura like an erupting volcano suddenly burst forth from the side. The surrounding temperature soared, scorching to the point that people's mouths became dry. Hong Tianye circulated the surging spiritual power in his body, his long black hair fluttering wildly, his powerful aura overwhelming. He raised one hand and formed a seal, lightly pointing two fingers towards the distance. Whoosh, 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 fiery red flames spread, causing ripples in the void. Ah! Any demon creatures within the range of the flames emitted miserable screams, being burned to ashes. Dozens of Harmony Integration Stage demon generals shouted in horror, their bodies radiating surging demonic energy, joining forces to unleash their power to resist, hoping to salvage the situation. Not good, stop it quickly! But their struggles were completely futile. In just a moment, they were swallowed by the flames one by one. Half of the massive demon army was lost in an instant, a scene that was truly terrifying to the extreme. Li Wuji exclaimed, "Senior brother Hong is indeed powerful. Junior brother admires you, HMPH. The corners of Hong Tianye's mouth slightly lifted, feeling a bit smug in his heart. Even if that shameless master accepted a monster as a disciple, Hong Tianye was still the strongest senior brother. Hong Tianye said indifferently, "We must quickly resolve this, to avoid being ridiculed." Whoosh! Immediately afterward, his entire body was enveloped in soaring flames, carrying terrifying power, charging straight ahead. Along the way, everything turned to ashes. A majestic and terrifying scene. He gripped his long saber tightly, flying straight into the middle of the demon army, unleashing his saber techniques, and beginning a mass slaughter. Under the attacks of the two, the demon army died tragically without end, their numbers decreasing at an alarming rate. If this continued, the entire demon army would soon be wiped clean. Seeing this brutal scene, all the great Chu soldiers' faces turned pale, their hands and feet trembling with exhaustion. Several generals swallowed their saliva, cold sweat pouring down their foreheads. Too strong. Too strong. The crown prince felt his scalp tingle even more, his facial muscles twitching, thinking in his heart. As expected of the disciples of the white-haired god of slaughter, their style is indeed the same. I originally thought it would be a fierce battle, but I didn't expect it to be resolved so neatly. In the black mist at the rear, the 10 demon marshals muttered in shock and anger. Damn it! Who are those two humans? What just happened before our eyes makes it impossible for us to sit still. Their sudden appearance at this moment must mean they are powerhouses invited by the great Chu dynasty. We must take action to eliminate them, no matter who they are. They must not be allowed to obstruct our demon race's plan. Attack! At the same time, Hong Tianye was floating in the air, easily obliterating tens of thousands of demon creatures with one hand. Boom! Accompanied by an earth-shattering explosion, a majestic claw radiating surging demonic energy appeared in the sky. Suddenly sensing something, he looked towards the source, a cold smile forming on the corners of his mouth. How interesting. Their bodies were clad in ancient battle armor engraved with runes, holding various weapons such as sabers, swords, staffs, and halberds. The crown prince and the generals exclaimed in horror. Such powerful auras, these are great vehicle stage demon marshals. The weakest among them is also at the middle stage of the great vehicle realm, and the strongest is at the peak of the great vehicle realm. A purple-haired demon marshal, with a middle stage great vehicle realm cultivation, charged forward first, holding a pitch-black halberd and thrusting it forward, shouting, "You two humans, die!" Li Wuji was visibly excited, wanting to test his limits, and immediately unleashed a saber strike, laughing coldly, "Haha, just right for me to practice, whoosh!" The saber light tore through the void, carrying the momentum to cleave the heavens. Splurt! The green-haired demon marshal was extremely horrified, watching in disbelief as the halberd in his hand snapped, a large wound appearing on his chest, green blood spurting out. He thought in shock. Since when did a Harmony Integration Stage human cultivator have such terrifying strength? Combat power surpassing a major realm. Even the Dark Abyss hasn't had many like this in the past 10,000 years. Feeling embarrassed, Li Wuji exerted all his strength to swing his long saber a second time and said, "Oh, one strike wasn't enough to kill you, then have another, whoosh!" The light of destruction swept across. Boom! The purple-haired demon marshal didn't even have time to scream before he was completely obliterated by the terrifying saber light. The remaining 9 demon marshals were struck by lightning, stammering in shock. How is this possible? The crown prince and the generals were gaping, muttering. Are all the disciples of Venerable Yi this terrifying? Li Wuji laughed loudly, holding his long saber and continuing to charge towards the other demon marshals. Ha ha, this is absolutely exhilarating. The purple-haired devil general took the lead, roaring loudly as he wielded his trident, a chilling aura swirling around it. Kill this one for me! he screamed. At the same time, the other devil generals unleashed their ultimate moves in unison. A terrifying, murderous aura erupted, threatening to blot out the sky. The horrifying pressure sent shivers down your spine. Seriously, dude? Facing the 9 malicious attacks, Li Wuji's expression changed. He realized he'd been way too reckless. He thought to himself, grinding his teeth, his eyes starting to turn a fiery red. Should he try activating that sealed bloodline? Just then, an immense heat swept across the area, filling every direction. Countless jade-green flames, carrying a divine aura, appeared, illuminating the battlefield. Hong Tianye waved his sleeve forcefully, and the rolling green flames surged out, forcefully cutting off the devil generals' attacks. Azure jade-glazed fire, he uttered. Akiarg. 6 mid-stage Mahayana devil generals screamed in agony, their bodies engulfed in the green flames. In an instant they were reduced to ashes. The purple-haired devil general roared furiously, raising his trident high to unleash a massive amount of energy. "You despicable human, I want you to pay with your life!" From the trident, a violent killing intent shot straight into the sky, darkening the heavens as if some terrifying calamity was about to descend. As a peak Mahayana devil general, if he unleashed his full power, almost no one in Great Zhu could stand against him. Li Wuji was sweating buckets, quickly retreating and looking at the purple-haired devil general with pity. The 2 late-stage Mahayana devil generals standing next to the purple-haired devil general sneered, thinking the situation was about to turn around. "Haha, it's too late to be scared now. You and that slut are both gonna die." Hiss. Hearing this, Li Wuji inhaled sharply again, retreating several hundred more feet. Sure enough, an even more terrifying aura erupted, and the entire space seemed to tremble. Hong Tianye's long hair fluttered, his face as cold as frost, his eyes radiating a fierce killing intent, his voice echoing with icy resolve. "All of you, die!" With a wave of his hand, an endless sea of black fire suddenly appeared in the void, carrying a force that devoured everything as it rushed toward the devil generals. No. The 2 late-stage Mahayana devil generals panicked, instantly engulfed and incinerated by the black flames. The purple-haired devil general was horrified, desperately controlling his trident and stabbing forward with all his might. What is this? Zap! The trident unleashed countless black-purple lightning bolts, each containing an astonishing destructive force. But something terrifying happened. When the black lightning bolts touched the black flames, they were not only unharmed, but were devoured completely. The purple-haired devil general panicked, his fighting spirit fading. He turned and ran, exclaiming, "Impossible!" But it was too late. The black flames enveloped his body. His flesh, blood, and soul were all burned up and absorbed. Arg. His agonized screams echoed everywhere, and in just a few seconds, the purple-haired demon general had completely vanished. The remaining demonic creatures couldn't escape either. One by one, they were swallowed by the black flames, turning the battlefield into a desolate wasteland. A cold wind whistled through the deathly space. The great Xiao soldiers stared blankly, their eyes focused on the figure of Hong Tianye, blazing with sky-high flames filled with deep reverence and awe. The crown prince trembled, barely managing to utter a sentence. "Immortal Hong truly has the demeanor of a celestial being," one general whispered. "I think she's more like a she-devil." He was immediately elbowed by his comrades, signaling him to shut up. At this moment, Hong Tianye gradually regained his composure, a cold smile playing on his lips, a bunch of ants who don't know their own limits. He turned his head to glance. The crown prince respectfully replied, "Venerable Ye, you are our most honored guest. Great Zhongyu will definitely treat you with the utmost care." Ye Junlin nodded slightly. He intentionally came down to experience the ordinary life in this mortal realm. Cut to the Great Zhu dynasty. When they saw a silver-haired youth accompanying the crown prince, everyone immediately understood his identity. They bowed their heads in respect, welcoming Venerable Yi. This was the man who single-handedly annihilated the cultivators of the feather transformation sect. Aside from the Zhao emperor, no one in this dynasty dared to oppose him. The crown prince said in a deep voice, "Venerable Yi, my imperial father is waiting for you inside." Ye Junlin raised an eyebrow, chuckling inwardly. This old geezer's got some attitude, just sitting there waiting for me to come. Just then, a steady voice tinged with apology rang out. "Venerable Ye, please forgive me for not being able to greet you from afar. My body is truly unwell." Ye Junlin stepped into the main hall. His eyes momentarily paused. In front of him was a middle-aged man, draped in a dragon robe, wearing a crown, his face stern as he sat upright on the throne, his entire body radiating a brilliant white light, an invisible energy enveloping him, seemingly to heal his wounds or adjust his condition. This was none other than the current Xiao Emperor of Great Xiao. Ye Junlin's eyes narrowed slightly, and he thought, Xiao Emperor, what's this? According to his memories, the imperial dynasties differed from sects and aristocratic families in that they possessed a mysterious power called national luck as a trump card. The effect of national luck was incredibly miraculous. It could assist in cultivation, heal the body, and even enhance strength, and the myriad beings of the world were the foundation for forming national luck. The ruler wanted to receive blessings from the national luck and needed to be recognized by the common people of the world. Therefore, there was a mutually beneficial relationship between them and the common people. That's why there's the saying, water can carry a boat, but it can also capsize it. But the Zhao Emperor's current situation didn't seem too good. He was borrowing the national luck of Great Zhu Hao to heal his injuries, like a bird startled by a bent twig, always in a state of vigilance. The Zhu Emperor gave a bitter smile. I've made Venerable Yi laugh. This was the first time he had met Yi Junlin, and he was somewhat surprised by the latter's youthful appearance. According to the rumors, the Zhu Emperor thought he would be an old man with white hair, looking conservative and rigid. More importantly, the Zhu Emperor discovered that, With his own perfected great vehicle cultivation, he couldn't see through Ye Junlin's true realm. The Zhu Emperor couldn't help but wonder, had this person used some kind of technique to conceal his cultivation? Even so, after the battle in Desolate Province, the Xiao Emperor still greatly respected Ye Junlin. Because other than the Xiao Emperor, who bore the national luck, no one in Great Xiao could threaten Ye Junlin. Ye Junlin asked, Xiao Emperor, can you explain exactly what happened? The Xiao Emperor hurriedly replied, the Ghost Clan from Dark Abyss suddenly launched an attack on my Great Xiao. This was beyond the court's expectations. The ministers all speculate that there is a treasure in the imperial palace that the Ghost Clan craves, which led to this great disturbance. The Xiao Emperor sighed helplessly. But the problem is that even I, the head of Great Xiao, don't know what that treasure is. Ye Junlin was speechless. So, you yourself are in the dark. Then where did your injuries come from? Who in Great Zhu is capable of harming a perfected great vehicle cultivator, especially one who bears the national luck like the Zhu Emperor? The Xiao Emperor replied, Venerable Yi asks a very good question. Before the Ghost Clan officially attacked Great Zhu, my ancestral mausoleum was infiltrated by a mysterious person. I immediately went to the scene and used the national luck to push him back. When he mentioned this, the Zhuao Emperor's face was full of fear. What was strange was that he could clearly feel that the mysterious person was very strong. He was no match, but the person seemed wary and retreated. Not long after that, the Ghost Clan began to attack Great Zhu. A glint flashed in Ye Junlin's eyes. It seemed the problem lay in the ancestral mausoleum. According to Xiao Emperor, the Ghost Clan seemed to be acting under the instructions of the mysterious person, launching an attack to seize the ancestral mausoleum. There must be some significant benefits involved, otherwise they would definitely not do something so wasteful. But what was puzzling was that if the mysterious person was strong enough to overwhelm the Zhu Emperor, why did he suddenly retreat? What exactly was hidden in the ancestral mausoleum that was worth investigating? What layers of mystery? The more Ye Junlin thought about it, the more interested he became. He was originally someone who transmigrated to this cultivation world. And he had a cheat-like golden finger, able to become stronger without needing to cultivate. So he only embraced the mentality of touring the world and enjoying himself. He thought life would just go on like this. But unexpectedly, he discovered this mystery, making him feel even more interested. Li Wuji frowned. There are such strange things? Beside him, Hong Tianye narrowed his eyes. He then said politely, Venerable Ye, the ancestral tomb is a sacred place where our ancestors rest. If you enter, I'm afraid you'll be tainted by unfavorable influences. Afterward, he switched to a respectful tone, saying, Venerable Ye has graced Great Zhuao with his presence this time, and helped us repel the demonic army. We should give you a grand reception befitting of Great Zhuao. The Imperial Cuisine Chamber has prepared a state banquet. Why don't we move to the Heavenly Union Hall to dine first? The Zhuao Emperor also spoke up at this moment. Venerable Ye, please forgive me, but the ancestral tomb of the Great Zhuao royal family is not a place that can be opened casually. However, you are the most honored guest of Great Zhuao. I will present you with the most precious treasures from the national treasury for you to choose from as you wish. It was clear that the Zhu Emperor was still being very sincere. Ye Junlin raised an eyebrow, thinking to himself, I have a system to rely on. I can become ridiculously rich just by checking in daily. How could I possibly lack a few items from your national treasury? Although Great Zhu was one of the immortal dynasties in the eastern region, and its national treasury, accumulated over the years, surely contained treasures that would drive outside cultivators crazy, they held no appeal in Ye Junlin's eyes. He was simply curious about the purpose of the mysterious intruder who entered the ancestral tomb. If the other party didn't want to open the ancestral tomb, he wouldn't force the issue. After all, Ye Junlin was a capricious person. He waved it off. Alright then, the crown prince secretly breathed a sigh of relief, his face beaming as he said, I knew Venerable Yi was a reasonable person. Everyone, please. Immediately after, everyone headed towards the state banquet. At this moment, on a gloomy mountain outside the Great Zhu territory, even though it was a bright sunny day, the sunlight did not shine here. Deep within the mountain was a palace built from piles of white bones. On the table were various large and small plates filled with treated flesh and blood, human organs, and eyeballs with clearly defined whites and blacks. The pungent smell of blood permeated the air. A demonic creature with grayish-white skin and a single horn on its forehead was sitting on the throne. The one-horned Devil King grabbed a cup, drained it in one gulp, and then tossed the cup away. Satisfying. The blood of children under the age of 1 is freaking awesome. He was excited to be able to lead his people out of the underworld, to conquer the outside world, and to escape the boring and dark life of the past. The one-horned Devil King stroked his chin and smiled coldly. After so many years, this king has finally waited for this opportunity. I must seize the moment to perform well. If I successfully seize the Great Zhu dynasty, this king's prestige in the demon race will soar. Most importantly, as long as he receives recognition from those few figures, his future. Just at this moment, a cluster of eerie black bones floated into the main hall. A figure wearing black robes, with a hood covering his face, stepped out, and a hoarse, low voice, containing an uncontrollable rage, came from under the hood. Waste, what are you still doing here? Hearing this, the one-horned Devil King not only did not get angry, but also showed a look of horror. He immediately crawled down from the throne, knelt on the ground, and trembled as he said, This lowly one greets the envoy, my lord. Faced with the mysterious man's scolding, the one-horned Devil King was filled with fear and dared not have the slightest resentment, because this person in front of him was one of the figures behind the scenes, a being that all the creatures of the underworld had to rely on. The future of all the races was in the hands of these figures. The mysterious man in black robes said coldly, Right now, all the races of the underworld are acting for the holy war, and you, a dignified devil king, are hiding in the rear enjoying yourself. Should I understand that your demon race has given up already? The one-horned devil king was horrified, and hurriedly explained. It's a complete injustice. This lowly one has already sent troops to attack the great Zhou dynasty. I believe that the Zhuo emperor will soon be forced to take action, and then all his secrets will be exposed. At that time, this lowly one will be even more certain of dealing with him. If a misunderstanding occurred, and the important affairs of the demon race were delayed, the other devil kings would definitely join forces to tear him apart to vent their anger. The black-robed envoy laughed coldly in anger. Fool, the army you sent has just been completely annihilated outside the capital city. Don't even talk about affecting the Zhu emperor. They couldn't even step into the city gates. The one-horned devil king felt his head buzzing, his face filled with shock. How is that possible? The army not only had dozens of Qi unification stage demon generals, but also 10 Mahayana demon marshals guarding it. If the Zhu emperor didn't show up, they could completely turn Great Zhu upside down. In the end, they didn't even attack the capital city, and the entire army was wiped out. The one-horned devil king's expression was extremely ugly. Is the Great Zhu dynasty that powerful? The black-robed envoy said coldly. It wasn't Great Zhu that annihilated your 10,000-strong army, but a cultivator who happened to pass by Great Zhu. The people in the city all call him Venerable Ye. The one-horned devil king was stunned, his mind exclaiming, Venerable, a Mahayana cultivator from elsewhere dares to disrupt my plans. He's really tired of living. Although he was surprised by the other party's strength, with his tribulation transcending cultivation, he didn't care about a Mahayana cultivator at all. The black-robed envoy's voice was as cold as ice. To prevent any unforeseen circumstances, this is a Ming Yuan pill. You must destroy Great Zhu for me. I will not allow you to fail again. A purple pill, filled with mysterious patterns, floated in front of the one-horned devil king. The one-horned devil king understood that this was his last chance. He immediately made up his mind and said in a deep voice, This lowly one will definitely complete the mission as you wish, my lord. HMPH. The black-robed envoy sneered. His entire body transformed into a stream of eerie black bones and disappeared, as if he had never appeared. Phew! The one-horned devil king exhaled and reached out to wipe the cold sweat from his forehead. Thinking about how his plan had almost been ruined this time, a fire of anger blazed in his heart. Boom! A terrifying killing intent erupted, causing the entire mountain to and then he soared into the sky, roaring like thunder across the 4 directions. All soldiers, follow this king on the expedition. The soldiers responded. As you command. Immediately after, countless demonic shadows hidden in the black mist followed the one-horned devil king and marched towards Great Zhu with a ferocious momentum. In the heavenly union hall, several beautiful palace maids, their faces covered with thin silk, danced gracefully to the melodious music played by the musicians. The scene was as beautiful as a painting. At this time, Ye Junlin and the others were enjoying the most luxurious banquet of Great Zhu. The ingredients used for cooking were all rare spirit beasts or natural treasures. Each dish was worth 1,000 gold. Even for ordinary cultivators, just eating it could immediately break through their cultivation realm. Li Wuji held a jar of wine, tilted his head back, and gulped it down, his face flushed as he praised. What delicious wine! Bai Shaoxi was munching on a chunk of meat, and a look of satisfaction appeared on his face. So delicious. Li Wuji kept chugging wine one jar after another. Hong Tianye only tasted a few bites, then put down his chopsticks, not touching it anymore. Seeing this, the crown prince, feeling uneasy, cautiously asked, Immortal Hong, is there something about this dish that doesn't suit your taste? Hong Tianye crossed his arms and closed his eyes to rest, simply having no interest in these delicacies. Seeing this, the crown prince was at a loss, not knowing what to do. Ye Junlin laughed and said, Don't mind him, he's on a diet. The crown prince breathed a sigh of relief and exclaimed, So that's it, Immortal Hong is indeed very disciplined. Hong Tianye's eyes twitched, trying to suppress his anger. He had no choice but to pretend not to hear and retort in his mind, Diet my ass. The crown prince raised his wineglass, stood up to toast Ye Junlin, and said heroically, Venerable Ye, it is my honor to represent Great Zun Yu in entertaining you. I toast you a cup, please. After finishing speaking, he drained the cup of wine. Ye Junlin nodded, It's nothing. Clap, clap. Suddenly, the crown prince clapped his hands, and all the palace maids retreated out. An old man in gray robes, with a calm expression and carrying an ancient zither on his back, slowly walked into the main hall. The crown prince introduced, This here is Master Nangong, the top musician in all of Great Xiao. His reputation is legendary across Cheng Prefecture. His tunes aren't just drop-dead gorgeous, they're packed with deep Dabio insights. A real treat for us cultivators. I heard about this one nascent soul cultivator. Dude was almost kicking the bucket from old age, trekked 1,000 miles just to hear his music, and bam! Instant enlightenment, broke right through to the spirit transformation realm on the spot. Nangong Changfeng sat there cross-legged on the floor, plonked his guiqin on his knees, and his fingers just danced on those strings. The music just filled the whole place, felt like it could wash your very soul clean. Ding! The melody was smooth, graceful, spreading out everywhere, like it was taking your mind on a trip to a whole other world. Meanwhile, Li Wuji looked pretty moved. Leaning in to catch every note, Bai Shaoxi was totally lost in the music, her body swaying a bit with the tune. Hong Tianye, though, poker face, didn't even bother to open his eyes, and Ye Junlin, halfway through, just lets out this massive yawn, props his head on his hand, looking like he's about 5 seconds from snooze land. Nangong Chengfeng saw all this, and his face got darker and darker. What's this supposed to mean? You dare look down on my music? You have no idea how many cultivators have been moved to tears, treating my music like a priceless treasure, and this guy uses it as a friggin' lullaby. Nangong Changfeng felt like his pride just got sucker punched hard. He grumpily finished the piece, stood up, and said icily, "Your Highness, the Crown Prince, if this is how it's gonna be next time, don't even bother inviting me. I can't take this kind of insult." The Crown Prince coughed a couple of times, quickly asking, "Master Nangong, what are you saying?" Nangong Changfeng furiously pointed right at Ye Junlin, who was chilling in the main seat. Ask him. A bone-chilling killing intent just exploded outwards. Li Wuji's eyes flashed cold, his hand tight on the saber at his hip. He shot up, ready to dice Nangong Changfeng at any second, and roared, "Old man, you got a death wish or something?" Just one word from his master, and this old geezer was toast. The Crown Prince was sweating bullets, regretting everything. How did it all go so wrong? If he'd known, he'd never have invited Nangong Changfeng to play. Talk about shooting himself in the foot. Nangong Changfeng fumed. He's just some thug who only knows how to fight and kill. How could he possibly get the subtleties in my music? The Crown Prince was practically bathing in sweat, thinking, well, this has gone completely sideways, we're so screwed. Li Wuji angrily shot a look at Ye Junlin. Master, Ye Junlin, parked on the main seat, looked totally lost for words. He was just about to say something when, boom, the system's voice popped up. Ding! Congrats, host. You've triggered a choice mission. Option 1. Get mad. Order Nangong Changfeng's execution. Reward. 10 high-grade spirit stones. Option 2. Personally play a piece so awesome it makes Nangong Changfeng die of shame. Reward. 10 bags of super top quality pet food, milk flavor. This pet food's the good stuff. The more they eat, the faster they grow. Sweet, a choice mission right now. Ye Junlin raised an eyebrow. Option 1 was easy peasy, but the reward? Lame. He was already blowing tens of thousands of high-grade spirit stones on every meal. So what was a measly 10 stones? Plus, ordering Nangong Changfeng's head on a platter would make everyone think he was a petty, hot-headed dude. Bad for the perfect image, you know? Option 2, though, playing a tune to shame Nangong Changfeng, came with 10 bags of primo pet food. That definitely speed up his spirit beast's growth. With that thought, Ye Junlin looked at Nangong Changfeng, who was glaring like he was ready to fight to the death, slowly rolled up his sleeves, and said with a grin, "Playing the kin? Pilfed. Anyone with hands can do it." His chill voice echoed through the hall, leaving everyone stunned. Nangong Changfeng's face went beet red, and he sputtered, "Anyone with hands can do it? That's the most arrogant thing I've ever heard. I started training with a master as a kid, slaved away for thousands of years. I might not be the best kin master ever, but in this eastern region, I'm a rare find." The Crown Prince thought Ye Junlin was really pushing it this time. Anyone with hands can do it, man, that's bold. Just straight up punishing Nangong Changfeng would have been fine. He's got the status, got the power. But saying that kinda makes him look bad. Land. Li Wuji, though, puffed out his chest, all proud. Master's right. Anyone with hands can do it. He had no clue why he should be proud. But hey, Master said it, and a disciple's job is to cheerlead. Nangong Changfeng was so mad he actually laughed, his voice tight. "All right then, you give it a shot. I'll even lend you my Fuyao Qin. Let's see what kind of mind-blowing, earth-shattering tune you can squeeze out of it. What's up? Scared? Haha, knew you were all talk and no trousers. If you can actually play something decent, then pigs can fly. A killer like you, what do you know about music, huh?" The Crown Prince just hung his head, sweat pouring down, thinking, I just wanted a nice, chill party. How did it turn into this dumpster fire? He snuck a peek at Ye Junlin, scared the guy would flip out and just massacre everyone in the hall. But, shocker, Ye Junlin wasn't mad at all, just smiling. Okay, guess I'll give it a whirl. Nangong Changfeng practically threw the kin at Ye Junlin, scoffing. HMPH, take it then. Ye Junlin remembered he'd gotten some kind of instrument learning XP pack from the system once. No practice needed, just a click to level up. Thud. Ye Junlin reached out, gently set the kin on the table, his fingers lightly brushing the strings. The system gave a friendly little ding. Host's Qin Dao skill is currently at the peak of perfection level. Skills were ranked, you see. Preliminary entry, entering the hall, outstanding, supernatural transformation, and the tippy top, peak of perfection. Nangong Changfeng, after a lifetime of hardcore practice, had barely scraped into the entering the hall level. But even that was enough to make him famous in Cheng Prefecture, with cultivators fawning all over him. Meanwhile, Ye Junlin had silently hit peak of perfection. Seriously scary stuff. Nangong Changfeng stood there, waved his hand like a big shot, and said smugly, "Well, get on with it. Show us your amazing talent." The Crown Prince saw this and mumbled awkwardly, "Uh-oh, looks like Venerable Ye's about to get into it. Should I, step in? Maybe I can save Nangong Changfeng's neck if I do?" Then, his fingers flew across the strings. Ding ding, the kin sang out. The melody was fierce, decisive, and packed a punch like a tidal wave of killing intent. Hidden inside was this epic, proud vibe, the kind of aura that screamed, "I alone rule this world." Shwa. His whole body lit up like a piece of see-through jade. Everyone suddenly had this crazy illusion, like they were watching some primeval god king playing a tune for the ages. Hong Tianye was floored. He could feel the meaning of the great Tao in the music. Mixing that with all his years kicking butt in the central region, he suddenly got all these new insights. He was thinking, totally stunned. Music this divine. How can he even play it? This skill level, even in the central region, this is top tier. No one would dare challenge him. Nangong Changfeng's jaw hit the floor, his eyes bugging out in sheer terror, his mind screaming, "No way! This melody, it's Li Wuji," was frozen like a statue, also zapped into a state of sudden enlightenment. He stared at Ye Junlin, his eyes blazing with an almost crazy passion, fists clenched. The meaning in these notes, I can actually feel the unbelievably profound mystery of the kin. Holy crap, this is insane. My heart feels like it's gonna beat right out of my chest. Ye Junlin's fingers were a total blur now. The music getting faster and more intense. The dude was playing that kin like he was dropping beats at a Vina house rave. Boom. Hong Tianye's aura just kept skyrocketing. Early Mahayana, mid Mahayana, late Mahayana, peak, and finally, full-on perfection. He was just a hair's breadth away from the Tribulation Transcendent stage. A bottleneck shattered. Someone's cultivation realm blasted through from the integration stage straight to the Mahayana stage. An aura, 100 times stronger than before, exploded from their body, their black hair whipping around, their eyes shooting out cold, red sparks. Boom. Just then, a terrifying aura erupted from Ye Junlin himself. The crown prince shrieked in terror. Mid-stage tribulation transcendence. Your excellency, you're actually a void immortal. With that kind of cultivation backing him up, plus those god-tier Qingdao skills, Ye Junlin was like a deity had possessed him. The kin's song thundered with the absolute power to rule the world. Thump, thump, thump. Strange ripples spread out, resonating with the grand Tao. The sound echoing across 90,000 miles of mountains and rivers. The common people living on this land were all bathed in the purification of the music. Those who had been bedridden with serious illnesses for many years completely recovered their spirits, their ailments vanished, and they excitedly ran outside, healthy as ever, jumping and rejoicing. The generals and soldiers of Great Zhu, including cultivators from various sects, all had epiphanies at the same time, and their cultivation levels broke through one after another. Everyone was moved to tears, shouting in unison, "This is a miracle! A miracle! Heaven blesses our great Zhao!" Buzz, buzz, buzz. Invisibly, Great Zhao's national fortune soared wildly. In the Xuanzhang Hall, Zhao Huang was enveloped in white light and suddenly sensed something. Relying on the national fortune and years of accumulation, he directly shattered the shackles that had long bound him. From today on, Zhao Huang officially entered the Tribulation Transcendent stage, becoming the only loose immortal monarch in Kangzhou's immortal dynasties. At the same time, a demonic army led by the Dokaku Devil King invaded the territory of Great Zhao, their momentum aggressive as they wanted to march straight into the imperial city. Several inexperienced young devils, still cocky, stood outside with their weapons and said to each other, "Today, we devils will massacre the great Xiao human race." The Dokaku Devil King raised his arm and shouted, "Kill them all!" But unexpectedly, the situation suddenly changed. The heroic music resounded everywhere, containing extremely mysterious power. For the human race, the music played by Ye Junlin brought countless benefits, but for the creatures of the nether abyss, it was a fatal attack. Ah! Wails echoed from the black mist that blotted out the sky. Many demonic creatures erupted in white smoke, their flesh and blood rapidly disintegrating, and even channeling their magical power to resist was useless. This kind of damage was like a curse. Subordinates wailed in pain, crying and begging, "Great King, save us! Save us!" The Dokaku Devil King was both shocked and enraged, his entire body emitting a stormy killing intent. He raised his head to the sky and roared, "Who is attacking? Get out here!" Hiding in the shadows. Is that all you've got? His roar caused mountains to collapse, and the sky nearly shattered. Too bad, the music continued to resound, not interrupted at all. In just a few breaths, the vast demonic army turned to ashes. From 20,000, there were fewer than 10 creatures left alive. Several devil commanders tried to resist, their entire bodies almost melted away, transmitting their last message through their faint consciousness. "King, retreat. The human race has a powerhouse." Then, one by one, they vanished into nothingness. No. The Dokaku Devil King's eyes were bloodshot as he let out a cry full of grief and indignation. His entire body was covered in wounds, looking extremely shocking. But he was barely hanging on with the support of his early-stage Tribulation Transcendence cultivation. But for the Dokaku Devil King, this entire process was truly an excruciating torment. The Dokaku Devil King roared, but he did not choose to retreat. Who is it? Who is it really? Instead, the raging fury within his heart made him determined to move forward, regardless of the consequences. He knew that he no longer had a way out. He led an army of millions to attack Great Zhu. And the result was annihilation. If he didn't do something to salvage the situation, he would only face severe punishment upon returning. Soon, wisps of white smoke rose from the Dokaku Devil King's body, accompanied by a terrifying sizzling sound. The pain was tearing at his guts, reaching the marrow of his bones, and even his soul trembled. Gritting his teeth, the Dokaku Devil King conjured a purple pill in his hand, radiating an ominous aura. No, if this continues, that's the nether origin pill that the envoy bestowed. Without hesitation, the Dokaku Devil King put the pill in his mouth and chewed it like grass. He swallowed the nether origin pill, raised his head to the sky and roared, his eyes spewing out 2 thick beams of purple divine light that pierced through space. "It's come to this. All I can do is swallow it. No matter the cost, this king must find out who's behind this." He only felt an immense power raging within his body. His cultivation soared from the early stage Tribulation Transcendence to the late stage Tribulation Transcendence. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The Dokaku Devil King's aura became extremely terrifying. His entire body was covered in a purple-black light, like a demonic shooting star hurtling forward. Along the way, the people below were horrified, no one daring to look directly at him. The Dokaku Devil King felt that, along with the increase in his cultivation, the influence of the music on him had lessened. It was all thanks to the nether origin pill, but he also understood that this was only temporary, and that he would probably suffer unimaginable consequences later. But now, there was no turning back. The mission assigned by the envoy had to be completed. His eyes bloodshot, his face full of killing intent, the Dokaku Devil King roared, "Kill! Kill! Kill!" Even if he had only one breath left, he would definitely rush into the capital and massacre everyone. Clearly, this had become an indelible obsession in his heart. Tang 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 tang. At this moment, the music suddenly entered a climax, and the mysterious power became even more intense. Everywhere in Great Zoo, strange phenomena appeared, one after another, astonishing the world. The great sea reflected a bright moon, the picturesque rivers and mountains map manifested, and the stars shone brightly in the sky. The sun and moon shone together. The dragon and phoenix danced in harmony. The entire Great Zoo boiled over, and cheers resounded through the heavens and earth. I've never seen such a scene in my life. Is this the legendary sight of the sun and moon shining together? Are the dragon and phoenix flying into the shining stars in the sky? The gods are blessing our Great Zoo. Poof! A beam of golden light shot straight out of the Great Zoo palace, piercing right through the Dokaku Devil King. Before the young devil could even get close, he was sent straight to hell with one hit. The Dokaku Devil King was extremely panicked, as if struck by a heavy blow, his body falling straight down, billowing dust rising up. What? A paya? He screamed in pain, looking like a playful voice of the system echoed in his head. Ding! Congratulations, host, for annihilating the demon army. Rewarded with 5 elements, spiritual roots of immortal grade. Gold, wood, water, fire, earth. Ye Junlin thought in surprise. What the heck? What did I do? From beginning to end, besides playing music, I didn't see a single demon. Where did the demon army annihilation come from? Ye Junlin smiled faintly. Tongzi, are you glitching or something? The system seriously explained. Ding! The demon army that invaded Great Zoo just now was annihilated by the host's zither music. I am a very professional system, please don't doubt me, or the system will cry. Wah! Yi Junlin suddenly realized, nodding. Oh, so that's how it is. Immediately, he felt the changes in his body. A rare 5-element spiritual root of immortal grade. With this spiritual root, all 5 elements-related Dao techniques would be easily mastered, and the power of casting them would be even more terrifying. Taking the 5 extremes reincarnation grand destruction art as an example, if Ye Junlin continued to cast this move, all the damage would increase significantly. Once unleashed, it would be like a natural disaster descending. Bai Xiaoxi was the first to wake up, excitedly exclaiming, That sounds amazing, master is so awesome. Ye Junlin deliberately coughed a few times, nonchalantly replying, I told you, you just need hands. Nangong Changfeng was kneeling on the ground, crying his eyes out. At this moment, Nangong Changfeng's whole body trembled, his eyes were red, and tears of regret flowed down his face. He muttered, This is an unparalleled divine melody, absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. He felt that his whole body, inside and out, was cleansed. His soul seemed to be upgraded, becoming ethereal. Compared to this divine zither art, his level was not worth mentioning. Nangong Chengfeng was extremely ashamed, kneeling on the ground, hugging his zither, sobbing, his crying filled with sorrow. How pitiful I am, self-satisfied, calling myself a zither Dao Grandmaster, praised by everyone. It turns out I'm just a frog in a well. The Crown Prince was stunned. Grandmaster Nangong Chengfeng screamed miserably, No, I don't deserve to be called a Grandmaster. Senior is the true Grandmaster. I'm just a clown. A ridiculous fool. The system's notification sounded. Ye Junlin knew his goal had been achieved. Ding, congratulations, host. For completing the selection task, rewarded with 10 bags of top-grade pet food, the Crown Prince became even more respectful after learning that Ye Junlin was a Tribulation Transcension stage powerhouse, cautiously asking, Ye Suxian, how do you plan to deal with him? Ye Junlin waved his hand. Let him step down, after all, I've taught him a lesson, I don't want to haggle further. Hearing this, the Crown Prince was even more convinced, bowing and saying, Ye Zuxian is truly generous, I admire you. Then, the Crown Prince looked at the lost-souled old man, sighing, Someone? Take Nangong Chengfeng away. Li Wuji snorted coldly. Consider this old geezer lucky, otherwise I would definitely have chopped him to death. Next, he excitedly looked at Ye Junlin, respectfully saying, Master, thanks to your music, your disciple has broken through to the Great Ascension stage. Ye Junlin nodded in response. His gaze swept over Hong Tianye, discovering that this person had reached the Great Ascension perfection. Ye Junlin couldn't help but sigh in his heart. As expected of someone who once became an immortal, the speed of breakthrough is really different. So quickly he's about to enter the Tribulation Transcension stage. Hong Tianye tried to maintain a calm demeanor, but his heart was surging, thinking, I didn't expect Ye Junlin to have such abilities. Just one piece of music has spared me 1,000 years of hard cultivation. Wait, isn't this a good opportunity? I can use him to quickly restore my cultivation. Hong Tianye regained his confidence after thinking about it, secretly thinking, Ye Junlin, just you wait. I will quickly surpass you. Someone like you, who is lazy and indulgent all day long, doesn't deserve to enjoy this great luck. The humiliation you brought to me, I will repay it 100-fold. At this moment, Hong Tianye had thought of countless ways to torture Ye Junlin, such as making him wash his feet for him, and then drinking all the foot-washing water, and then he would have to thank him and squeal. Whoosh! At this moment, a figure in a dragon robe appeared in the hall, emitting the terrifying aura of the Tribulation Transcension realm. The Crown Prince happily said, Father Emperor, you've broken through. In his mind, he thought, with a true void immortal level powerhouse guarding, the position of Great Zhao in Kangzhou is even more stable, and with the overwhelming national fortune. How many people, in the eyes of the Tribulation Transcension realm, are opponents of the Emperor? Zhao Huang stood silently, not saying anything, his face pensive as he looked in one direction. Unexpectedly, Zhao Huang looked towards the silver-haired youth sitting solemnly, without hesitation, kneeling down. loudly paying respects. I am here on behalf of the people of Great Zhao, thanking Ye Zhuxian for playing the divine melody, benefiting all the people. The crown prince was stunned, glancing at Ye Junlin behind him and thinking, the dignified Mu Kingdom king, a tribulation transcension realm powerhouse, is lowering himself to this extent, so how strong is this profound heaven sect? Ye Junlin waved his hand. Stand up. Being able to break through tribulation, transcension is your own ability. Zhao Huang stood up, his tone full of respect. Ye Xuxian is joking. Thanks to you playing the divine melody, the national fortune of Great Zhao has reached an unprecedented peak, and I also took this opportunity to break through. Before, his realm was great ascension perfection, he was a little wary of Ye Junlin, but that was all. He felt that no matter how strong the other party was, with the support of national fortune, he could still suppress him. After all, this was Great Zhao, his territory, not a remote place like Huangzhou. But now, through the complete zither music containing the great Dao sound, Zhao Huang's vision suddenly broadened after the breakthrough of his cultivation, and finally saw the horror of the floating mist peak belonging to the profound heaven sect. Before, he only saw the tip of the iceberg. The difference in strength between him and the other party could absolutely not be made up for by national fortune alone. Realizing this, Zhao Huang immediately came forward to show his support, forgetting all the face of a king, lowering his stance to the lowest level. First hug the thigh. Ye Junlin seemed to have a thought. It seems you are sincerely grateful to me. Zhao Huang replied, yes, as long as Ye Xuxian gives the word, Great Zhao will absolutely cooperate to the best of our ability. Ye Junlin said. Okay, then take me to visit the ancestral mausoleum. Zhao Huang replied. Please, I will lead the way for you, the crown prince spoke up. The ancestral mausoleum is the most heavily guarded place in the entire imperial palace, and it is also the burial place of the kings of Great Zhao throughout the ages. Zhao Huang waved his hand to remove the restrictions, and then led Ye Junlin into the ancestral mausoleum. Inside the ancestral mausoleum, there was a very large space, filled with an ancient aura, Zhao Huang said helplessly. In fact, in the ancestral mausoleum, apart from the burial objects that may interest tomb robbers, there is nothing special about other places. Even I don't understand why we are targeted by such existences, and even incited the demon race to send troops to attack Great Zhao just to occupy this place. Li Wuji shook his head, thinking, this era is indeed full of strange things. Until a few people walked to the end of the corridor, Ye Junlin raised his eyebrows and said, really didn't find anything unusual? Let's go back. When Ye Junlin shook his head, preparing to leave this boring place, Hong Tianye, standing behind, narrowed his eyes, using one hand to cast a Dao technique forward. Rumble! A sound like a millstone came from the void. Gradually a vast ancient door named Stargate appeared, exuding an unpredictable and mysterious aura. This is... Zhao Huang's eyes widened, completely unprepared for this situation. How could there be this thing in the ancestral mausoleum of the Zhao family? He, as Zhao Huang, didn't even know. Ye Junlin turned his head to look at Hong Tianye, discovering that his expression was also full of surprise. Bai Zixie's eyes lit up, exclaiming, wow, this door is so beautiful. Then, she curiously circled around the Stargate. When she reached out her small hand to touch it, she discovered that her hand passed through, as if she was only seeing an illusion. This Stargate didn't exist at all. But Ye Junlin knew. This Stargate absolutely existed. It was just that it hadn't yet manifested in the real world. To completely activate it, perhaps a price had to be paid. Ye Junlin asked, Zhao Huang, how long has this dynasty existed? Zhao Huang, with a somewhat proud expression, reported, Ye Xuxian, Great Zhao has existed for over 100 million years, a cultivation force, regardless of the form it exists in. As long as it can maintain itself for over 100 million years, it has the qualifications to be called an immortal Dao tradition. Because this means that each generation has a great ascension sitting guard, and it must be great ascensions through generations. If you lose the great ascension, you may be excluded from the immortal Dako tradition. And Zhao Huang, as a tribulation transcension realm powerhouse, is also one of the immortal great powers in Kangzhou, the only one with void immortal level strength in this Great Zhao. Ye Junlin continued to ask, are there any other countries? Zhao Huang was taken aback, honestly saying, according to the available records, there are at least several dozen countries, and even some that are no longer possible to study for billions of years, as endless as Great Zhao. An immortal dynasty that exists for millions of years is actually just a drop in the ocean. Ye Junlin frowned, thinking, so this Stargate must go back to a more ancient period. Perhaps there were previous records related to this Stargate, but after many changes, they have long been buried in the dust of history, and the ancestral mausoleum happened to be built in this location. Even the rulers of Great Zhou throughout the ages were unaware, simply feeling that this place had better feng shui. Looking at his eldest disciple whose face was changing, Ye Junlin said in a meaningful tone, little Hong, tell master, do you know anything? Whoosh! All eyes immediately focused on Hong Tianye. Hong Tianye was stunned for a moment, then spoke up. Regarding the origin of this Stargate, this disciple has only heard rumors. There is no concrete evidence. Ye Junlin waved his hand encouragingly. It's okay, just say it, and let's hear it. Hong Tianye nodded, and slowly recounted. Legend has it that in ancient times, the Kunlun realm had many teleportation gates that led directly to the Great Thousand Worlds. Countless cultivators of the Kunlun realm could freely traverse the universe and travel everywhere. However, for unknown reasons, these teleportation gates were later sealed by the seniors and never reopened. Hearing this, everyone was astonished, their eyes simultaneously focusing on the Stargate hovering before them. Is this thing really that capable? Legend says that the Kunlun realm is a massive cultivation star, and there are many similar stars scattered throughout the vast universe. In the past, cultivators at the Transformation God realm and above could fly out of the Kunlun realm and travel in the infinite universe. But since who knows when, an invisible force has restricted Kunlun realm cultivators, preventing them from leaving this world, forcing them to live and die here. The only way to break that limit is to undergo tribulation and become a true immortal, then follow the rules and ascend to the immortal realm, and only through the immortal realm will you be qualified to go to other stars in the universe. But undergoing tribulation to become an immortal is no easy feat. So for cultivators in this lifetime, they can only hang around in the Kunlun realm, and this stargate can now nullify that restriction, easily connecting to other stars in the universe. If this news spreads, it will definitely cause a huge shock, the Crown Prince exclaimed excitedly. Father, in that case, our Great Chu can expand its territory outwards. This is a once-in-a-millennium opportunity. In his mind, the universe must contain countless precious resources. If Great Chu can take the lead in expanding to the outside world, its national power will definitely increase rapidly, and it will cultivate countless powerhouses. The Chu Emperor replied, "That's right. The Chu Emperor was also moved. This was a huge temptation that any ruler would find hard to resist." Ye Junlin coldly laughed. "You guys are really just daydreaming." Hearing this, the faces of the Chu Emperor and the Crown Prince turned pale, and they awkwardly asked, "Ye Immortal Lord, what do you mean by that?" Ye Junlin's successive rebukes were like cold water splashed on the faces of the Chu Emperor and the Crown Prince, immediately extinguishing their fledgling delusions. "Are you sure Great Chu has enough ability to expand outwards, or will you be invaded by those foreign races out there instead? If it's really beneficial to the Kunlun realm, then why were stargates like these sealed by the seniors in ancient times? Moreover, why would that mysterious person go to great lengths to send the demon race to occupy this place? Use your brains a little." Recalling the recent storms, the Chu Emperor and the Crown Prince couldn't help but shudder when they thought of the deeper meanings from before. Many cultivators in the Kunlun realm always thought that this world was a lifelong cage, never being able to see the outside world, but looking back now, perhaps it was a disguised protection. Ye Junlin snorted coldly, his eyes full of contempt. "Furthermore, do you even know how to open this stargate?" The Chu Emperor and his son awkwardly shook their heads, feeling their faces burning, extremely ashamed. That's right, they don't even know how to open the stargate, yet they dream of expanding their territory. How ridiculous. Ye Junlin spoke. "Alright, you guys can continue to work hard. I'm afraid that as long as this stargate exists, Great Chu will have many difficult days ahead." Afterwards, the male lead waved his sleeve and turned to leave the ancestral tomb. Initially, he just wanted to explore to satisfy his curiosity, but now that he has understood some things, he naturally has no interest in staying any longer. The Chu Emperor forced a smile. "Hi, we have to be more careful." Realizing that the future of Great Chu would be extremely bumpy, fortunately, he has now reached the Tribulation Transcension realm, relying on the power of the massive national fortune. Even if the demon race were to invade again, he would be able to defeat them. In any case, Great Chu is currently in its most prosperous period of national power. The Chu Emperor is still very confident about this. Li Wuji gritted his teeth, his eyes flashing with murderous intent, and said coldly, "Master, if what you say is true, then those underworld abyss creatures are truly damned. They dare to betray the Kunlun realm, willingly acting as lackeys for foreign races from the outside." Ye Junlin pondered. "What interests me most at this moment is what exactly happened in the Kunlun realm in the past. Perhaps the answer can only be found in the immortal realm. After all, only by ascending to the immortal realm will one be qualified to traverse the universe. From this, it can be seen that this is definitely related to the great figures in the immortal realm." Li Wuji thought with admiration. That is the place that countless cultivators yearn for day and night. It is rumored that the spiritual energy in the immortal realm is so abundant that even throwing a dirty stone from the toilet into it, over time, it can also awaken its intelligence and embark on the path of cultivation. A sharp glint flashed in Hong Tianyé's eyes, and he secretly sneered. "The immortal realm is just a place where the big fish eat the small fish, even more cruel than the lower realm by 1,000-fold. That year, when he underwent tribulation and became an immortal, he didn't choose to ascend to the immortal realm at the first opportunity, but continued to stay in the central region to temper himself, precisely because he heard that the immortal realm has a very strict hierarchy, and one can even lose their freedom. In this era, being able to undergo tribulation and become an immortal who isn't a top genius in the Kunlun realm, commanding wind and rain, revered by countless cultivators, finally painstakingly ascending to the immortal realm, only to be able to start from the lowest level and climb up. How many people can endure this feeling of falling from heaven to earth? There is a saying that it is better to be the head of a chicken than the tail of a phoenix. If one has a background in the immortal realm, that's good, then there will be seniors to guide them. But if not, the situation will be even more difficult. And Hong Tianyé is self-made, completely relying on himself to painstakingly crawl and become a true immortal level big shot. Because he has caused too much enmity with hostile forces in the central region, if Hong Tianyé ascends to the immortal realm, he is afraid that he will be hunted to death by people up there. Staying in the central region, at least he can protect his life. After all, immortals in the immortal realm cannot descend at will, leading to true immortals descending to the lower realm only being regarded as the maximum power. It's a pity that the cultivation environment in the lower realm is too poor, making it very difficult to support true immortals in breaking through their cultivation. It can only be said to be detrimental and useless. So that's also why some cultivators who successfully undergo tribulation and become immortals mostly choose to stay in the lower realm, unless their lifespan is running out, forced, and there is no other way. Then they ascend to the immortal realm. Next, everyone controlled the Kunpeng to leave Great Chu, welcoming the bright sunshine. Ye Junlin, holding a cup of milk tea, leaned back on the chair, relaxed, and thought about the things he had encountered in Great Chu, thinking in his mind, others can see that the underworld abyss, suddenly launching a war against the outside world, must have a secret force pushing it. The main purpose is to occupy the Stargate, with the inside cooperating with the outside to allow foreign races to invade the eastern region, and the other 4 major regions will sooner or later face a similar situation. A crisis aimed at the Kunlun realm is quietly approaching. Regarding this, Ye Junlin felt nothing in his heart, because he was originally a transmigrator and possessed a powerful system. If something threatens him, and the friends around him, he can eliminate it with a single move. The principle that Ye Junlin pursues is that if he needs to lie down, he just lies down. If he needs to show off, he just shows off. There's no need to have extra urgency, no need to put pressure on himself. A person must live according to their own wishes. Ye Junlin thought of something. Oh right, almost forgot this. From within the system, he took out a bag of pet food. When opened, a fragrant, milky aroma wafted out. That's right, this is high-end pet food. Bai Xiaoxi sniffed her nose and said, "Wow! Smells delicious." When she saw the bag of food in Ye Junlin's hand, her eyes lit up, and she hurriedly ran over and said, "Master, Squeak Squeak can have a taste." Not looking at Bai Xiaoxi with a face about to drool, Ye Junlin couldn't help but laugh. "This is for pets to eat." Bai Xiaoxi transformed back into her original form, a white-furred mouse. It tilted its head. Pet. But Squeak Squeak is a pet species. Hearing this, staring at the furry mouse head in front of him, Ye Junlin couldn't help but burst out laughing. He had almost forgotten that his disciple's original form was a small white mouse. At first, he adopted it as a pet, perfectly fitting the concept of a pet. Ye Junlin said, "All right, I'll give you this bag as a snack." Bai Xiaoxi took the food with both hands, like a child joyfully shouting, "Yes, thank you, master." From afar, Hong Tianye sat cross-legged in his heart, despising her. This silly mouse doesn't cultivate all day, only knows how to eat, just like that Yi head. Hong Tianye saw that Bai Xiaoxi's physique seemed to be very strong, but since becoming his disciple, she hasn't done any serious work all day, willingly becoming Ye Junlin's #1 lackey, and has only remained in the early stage of the divine realm. In his opinion, this act of wasting talent is wasting a lifetime. Bai Xiaoxi reached out and grabbed a large handful. Each food pellet was like a milky jade, emitting a white light, and then began to put it in her mouth and chew, her eyes narrowed into slits in enjoyment. So delicious, Bai Xiaoxi ate very happily, becoming more and more addicted, unable to stop at all. Very quickly, her body emitted a radiant light, and pure essence spurted out of every pore of her body. In an instant, the energy in her body exploded, and Bai Xiaoxi's cultivation quickly soared, breaking through the fusion realm. Not yet finished, as Bai Xiaoxi ate more, her cultivation continued to climb. When she finished the entire bag, her realm directly broke through the Great Ascension. Hong Tianye was horrified, and blurted out in his mind, This! He stood there dumbfounded. His inherent understanding was shattered by this scene, and he suddenly realized that he didn't understand this world at all anymore. It was way beyond his imagination, like, seriously. Xiaoxi chirped. "The snacks Shizun gave me are so yummy." Her voice even trailed off in a cute way. Bai Xiaoxi was totally lost in the delicious flavor, and when she finally snapped out of it, she realized her cultivation had jumped levels. She had no idea when or how it happened. Bai Xiaoxi's eyes widened, and her little squirrel face was blank. Eek! Did I just break through? Yet Junlin was totally surprised. Like, a bag of high-end pet food did that? From chi refining early stage straight to nascent soul early stage, if she ate a few more bags, would she just ascend to immortality or what? Li Wuji, who was busy studying his blade techniques, dropped his sword when he saw this. "Senior Sister Bai, what?" Hong Tianye's eyes shone with a crazy light. He stared at the packaging Bai Xiaoxi was holding, his heart going wild. It had to be that snack bag. He was so curious. What kind of treasure trove did Ye Junlin have that he could keep pulling out such amazing stuff? Hong Tianye was filled with desire. If he didn't think he couldn't beat Ye Junlin, he would have snatched a bag already. Ye Junlin asked, "Zhao Ji, do you want more?" Bai Xiaoxi's eyes lit up like Christmas trees. She nodded like a chicken pecking rice. So yummy, eek, want more. Ye Junlin took out another 4 bags of pet food. He wanted to see if Bai Xiaoxi could keep breaking through. Seeing the 4 full bags, Bai Xiaoxi was overjoyed. She quickly grabbed them, opened a bag, sniffed it with her nose, and her face lit up with happiness. Then, Bai Xiaoxi started stuffing the snacks into her mouth and chewing, her cheeks bulging. So cute. After that, Ye Junlin took out another bag of high-end pet food and called out to the huge beast at his feet, "Kun, you've been working hard lately, here's a snack for you." Whoosh! The bag of high-end pet food flew into the air, emitting a brilliant light, and went right in front of the Kunpeng. The Kunpeng happily opened its big mouth and swallowed it. Normally, such a small amount wouldn't even fill its teeth. But this system-rewarded food was super special, and packed a punch of energy, like exactly what it needed. After eating the high-end pet food, the Kunpeng glowed with a sparkling blue light, probably because of its pure divine beast bloodline. Its cultivation went from nascent soul early stage straight to perfection. The Kunpeng let out a happy cry, sending waves of joy to Ye Junlin, happy as a kid getting a treat from their parents. Li Wuji almost lost his mind, his eyes widening so much they nearly popped out. Heavens, just eating this stuff and their cultivation levels jump like crazy. Shizun is truly unfathomable. Li Wuji sighed and looked at the silver-haired youth, his eyes filled with even more respect. Hong Tianye was stunned at first, then his face turned angry. He thought, "Is this a joke to those who work hard to cultivate? I must strongly condemn this on moral grounds. Most importantly, this stuff definitely works. Even if someone begged me to eat it, I wouldn't." Ye Junlin secretly watched Bai Xiaoxi and noticed that after eating the 3rd bag, her cultivation only jumped to body integration stage. Ye Junlin now understood that eating a lot in a row reduced the effect a lot. It got harder and harder, and eventually you had to accumulate quantity to improve, but Ye Junlin didn't care. To him, it was just pet food after all. Even though Hong Tianye thought that, his eyes were still glued to the snack bag in Bai Xiaoxi's hand. Hong Tianye stealthily moved behind a maple tree near the palace and whispered, "Xiaoxi, come here for a second." Bai Xiaoxi was surprised, and looked in the direction of the sound. She saw Hong Tianye looking at her. Bai Xiaoxi took short steps, and excitedly ran over. "Senior brother Hong, did you need something from Iki?" Hong Tianye looked at Bai Xiaoxi's cute dumb face and snickered inwardly. What a silly squirrel. He cleared his throat a few times and said seriously, "I want to tell you, the stuff Shizun gave you is poisonous." Bai Xiaoxi was stunned, then shook her head wildly. "No way, Shizun wouldn't hurt Iki. Plus, my cultivation jumped like crazy after eating it." Hong Tianye put on a teaching the young tone and said, "HMPH. Everything has two sides. Even pills for cultivation leave drug residue in the body, and you need to refine the leftovers, or it will affect your foundation." Bai Xiaoxi's head was spinning, and the chewing in her mouth stopped. She swallowed with difficulty and said weakly, "But Shizun gave it to Ikik, so it must be okay." Hong Tianye kept scaring her. "That's why most cultivators who rely on pills have very weak foundations. What you're eating might seem to help you break through, but it's just forcing the seedling to grow too fast. There's definitely accumulated toxins in your body. Eating more is like slowly committing suicide." Xiaoxi exclaimed, "Senior brother Hong, are you misunderstanding? Plus, I don't feel anything. My body doesn't feel uncomfortable at all." Hearing that, Hong Tianye frowned and put his hand on Bai Xiaoxi's head, closing his eyes to check inside her. All the meridians are perfect. The foundation is extremely solid. There's even pure immortal qi. And there's no accumulated toxins at all, Hong Tianye thought in surprise. There really are no side effects. This is even more effective than using medicine. Not hearing Hong Tianye say anything, Bai Xiaoxi giggled. "Senior brother Hong, am I okay? If there's nothing wrong, I'll go first, okay?" In that moment, all his previous understandings were overturned. Hong Tianye stared at the snack bag in Bai Xiaoxi's hand, his eyes flashing with unconcealed greed. Feeling his gaze, Bai Xiaoxi felt uncomfortable all over and carefully said, "Senior brother Hong, if you don't need anything, Ik will go first." Hong Tianye stared straight into Bai Xiaoxi's eyes with overwhelming force and said, "Leave the snacks behind." Bai Xiaoxi looked at the snack bag in her hand, unwilling to part with it, and said softly, "Senior brother Hong, Ik hasn't eaten enough yet," Hong Tianye urged. "Hurry up, I'm your senior brother, you have to listen to me," Bai Xiaoxi replied. But Shizun gave it to Ik. Seeing that this squirrel was resisting his orders, and driven by his desire to raise his cultivation, anger rose in Hong Tianye's heart. He smiled maliciously, reached out, and snatched the snack bag, shouting, "Give it to me!" Bai Xiaoxi stood there dumbfounded, staring at the stolen bag of snacks, clear tears welling up in her eyes. Hong Tianye held the snack bag in his hand, then looked seriously at Bai Xiaoxi with a pitiful expression and shouted, "What are you crying about? Shut your mouth! And you can't tell Shizun about this, got it?" Hong Tianye's powerful aura made Bai Xiaoxi shrink back and weakly respond, "Yes." Seeing this stupid squirrel just irritated him, Hong Tianye said impatiently, "What are you still doing here? Get out of my sight!" Bai Xiaoxi tried to hold back her tears, turned around and ran away, crying, "Big brother stole Ikik's food! Ikik's heart hurts so much!" Watching the panicked figure running away, Hong Tianye revealed a contemptuous smile and muttered in his mind, "Zhaoji, this one can easily take advantage of you." Hong Tianye looked down at the snack bag in his hand, his eyes flashing with clarity. Hehe, next is the moment to break through the tribulation stage. Afraid that another accident will happen, without another word, Hong Tianye immediately poured the whole bag of snacks into his mouth. The sweet, milky, and delicious flavor melted as soon as it entered his mouth. It was really good. After eating, Hong Tianye frowned, a trace of doubt appearing in his eyes. He thought, "What's going on? Why does my stomach feel so bloated and uncomfortable?" Hong Tianye didn't know that this was pet food made especially for pets. If humans ate it, it would cause a rejection reaction and wouldn't help with cultivation at all. At this moment, streams of pure energy were raging throughout Hong Tianye's stomach. Hong Tianye's expression changed. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and he thought, "This is bad. If this continues and I let this energy run wild, my body will be ruined. I have to quickly find a way to resolve it." While thinking, Ye Junlin asked in surprise, "What's that? Why is little Hong flying up there?" Li Wuji, standing beside him, also looked up and said, "Why does the wind smell like sweet milk? Dude, these two are seriously inhaling Hong Tianye's farts and calling them fragrant." "Ha!" Ye Junlin glanced at Bai Xiaoxi, who was standing behind him looking gloomy and sad, and asked in surprise, "Xiaoxi, what's wrong with you?" Bai Xiaoxi sadly replied, Since the food was snatched away, Bai Xiaoxi has always felt down. Usually, this Xiaoxi never knows sadness and is always full of energy. Why is she so sluggish now?" Thinking of this, Ye Junlin seemed to understand what the problem was, and Bai Xiaoxi wanted to speak up, but thinking of the consequences of doing so, she had to swallow her words. She felt really sad inside, but she didn't say it out loud. Bai Xiaoxi felt that if she told Shizun would definitely punish Hong Dage, and then he would definitely hate her even more. Ye Junlin angrily gritted his teeth and looked at Hong Tianye in the distance, muttering, "So that's how it is, Hong Tianye." Ye Junlin raised his hand, emitting a terrifying suction force, directly pulling the opponent from thousands of meters away. Whoosh! Hong Tianye staggered and fell to the ground, his exquisite and flawless face flushed as if it was about to bleed. He was so embarrassed that he wanted to find a hole to crawl into. To think that he, the leader of the demonic sect, had just farted, and it was a huge, thunderous one. Hong Tianye hugged his stomach, his face covered in sweat, and coughed a few times. Ye Junlin coughed a few times and looked at Hong Tianye seriously, asking, "Little Hong, tell me, what exactly is going on? Ye Junlin stood sternly, looking at Hong Tianye at his feet, waiting for him to answer. But he stood there for a long time without Hong Tianye saying anything. This time, Hong Tianye probably shat his pants, haha, in front of this silver-haired youth. Hong Tianye, who was full of momentum just now, had vanished, replaced by anxiety and unease, stammering and unable to speak. Ye Junlin's eyes flashed like lightning, and a powerful aura exploded like heavenly might, descending. Are you mute, I'm asking you? Hong Tianye's psychological defenses completely collapsed. He unconsciously knelt on the ground, lowered his head, and shouted, This disciple knows his mistake. Please forgive me, Shizun. He knew that the person in front of him usually loved that stupid mouse the most. If the food snatching was discovered, he would not die, but he would be skinned alive. Ye Junlin angrily shouted, Tell me, why did you steal little Shi's food, you little rascal? Bai Xiaoxi scratched her head beside him and said with a smile, That's right, squeak squeak for senior brother. He said he wanted to try it too. Ha ha! Ye Junlin sneered. He immediately guessed that Hong Tianye must have seen that the pet food was top grade, so he had bad intentions, and snatched it directly from Bai Xiaoxi's hands. As a result, the pet food was only for animals, and not suitable for humans, so it created the current situation. Moreover, stealing from his junior sister was a bit odd. It seemed he needed to be taught a lesson. Ye Junlin raised his hand and said, I know you will do everything you can to improve your cultivation, but Xiaoxi is your junior sister. Hong Tianye was terrified and blurted out, Shifu, this disciple is guilty, please spare my life. But just as Hong Tianye finished speaking, oh dear. The feeling was strange again, and he felt extremely uncomfortable. Finally, unable to bear it any longer, Hong Tianye shot straight into the sky like a rocket from a launch pad. With dust flying everywhere on the ground, Ye Junlin waved his hand and shouted, Remember to come back and take your punishment after you fart. At this time, Hong Tianye gritted his teeth while suppressing the energy in his stomach. From behind, he was constantly releasing bursts of gas to help him fly over mountains and seas, chasing after the direction the Kunpeng disappeared. Hong Tianye had an uncomfortable face and was full of regret. Fortunately, this scene was not seen by his old enemies. Otherwise, he would really have no face to live in this world. In a village not far away called Ji Ba Village, the villagers all looked up and saw Hong Tianye flying overhead, cheerfully shouting, Wow, look quickly, a beautiful fairy! There was a strange sound, and a person perked up his ears and heard the foot-put sounds, his eyes widening in surprise. A cowherd boy said in surprise, Why do I feel like this sound is like farting? The old village chief hit the cowherd boy on the head with his cane and scolded, How could that be? How could such a beautiful fairy fart? Immediately afterward, he looked at the beautiful figure in red on the horizon and excitedly shouted, This is a fairy descending, bringing good fortune to us. Villagers, everyone quickly absorb the spirit chi. Quickly absorb the spirit chi. It turned out to be spirit chi. No wonder it smells so fragrant. Quickly absorb the spirit chi. The entire Jiba village was boiling, and they ran one after another in the direction of Hong Tianye, sniffing with their noses, their faces full of excitement as if inhaling more meant greater benefits. This matter would later become a legend in this village. Legend has it that on a sunny morning, a beautiful fairy in red accidentally passed through Jiba village. Seeing the people here were simple and kind, she specially descended good spirit chi, and from then on, the people here all benefited. Everyone walked with a strong spring in their step. Who knows how long it had been? But Hong Tianye finished farting. He flew down onto the back of the Kunpeng and knelt in front of Ye Junlin, sighing, Shizun, this disciple has purged the energy in his body. Please forgive this disciple. Ye Junlin stood with his hands behind his back and replied, I know you have a very high self-esteem, but in this case, you must prioritize Bai Xiaoxi. For the next 3 months, you must do everything Xiaoxi tells you to do, to atone for your mistake. Did you hear me clearly? Hearing this, Hong Tianye thought to himself, I never thought that I would become a servant to this damn mouse. Then little Hong spoke up and replied, This disciple has heard. Thank you for Shizun's grace. 3 months later, the sun was shining brightly, and the clouds were rolling. A luxurious treasure ship was controlling the air currents and flying towards a certain place. On top, it looked like a large resort, and many cultivators from all directions were inside. Some were drinking and discussing dako, some were discussing trivial matters, some were flaunting their status, and some were eating and drinking happily. I really want to get to Wuzhou quickly. I heard that the Medicine King Valley is about to open, and I don't want to miss this rare opportunity. Oh, it will definitely be very competitive then. Look, the entire ship is going to Wuzhou. That's right, I heard that the VIP rooms all over the place are full of Huashen experts sitting inside. We, like little Foundation establishment fish, can only stand outside and watch the wind. That's nothing. I heard that in the more upscale VIP areas, there are more than a dozen heavenly lords from the immortal Daotong. Those heavenly lords are the big shots of the integration realm. Medicine King Valley has always been full of mystical colors. This place in the eastern region is a magical place full of opportunities. Legend has it that Medicine King Valley was originally created by a divine physician called Medicine Sovereign. He had extremely superb medical skills in the ancient period. He was praised by all cultivators. He planted all kinds of famous medicines in the Medicine King Valley, and there was a super large spirit gathering formation inside. He directly absorbed the spiritual energy of half of Wuzhou to cultivate any kind of precious medicine. Throwing out an ordinary precious medicine could cause a storm. Places like this should have been stared at by forces, but Medicine King Valley can be independent, not only because Medicine Sovereign knows how to treat diseases and save people, and made many friends, but the most important thing is that his strength is also terrifying. His cultivation is profound and unpredictable. Later, Medicine Sovereign used medicine to prove the Dabo and overcome tribulation to become an immortal. He used great divine powers to transform Medicine King Valley, setting up various formations. After completion, he flew up freely, leaving countless legends to the human world. Since then, Medicine King Valley has opened once every 100,000 years, and the opening time is limited. And the number of people entering is also limited. Moreover, anyone who causes trouble in the Medicine King Valley or harms the scenery will be destroyed by the power left by Medicine Sovereign. Medicine Sovereign did this on one hand to bring good fortune to all living beings and give future generations a chance to change their fate, and, on the other hand, to maintain the normal operation of the Medicine King Valley, so as not to waste the precious medicines inside. In these past few days, it just so happens that the Medicine King Valley is opening up again. So countless cultivators, hearing the news, have rushed to Wuzhou, eagerly awaiting the opening. For ordinary cultivators, this is definitely a chance to change their fate. As for those big-shot figures, naturally, they want to take their cultivation one step further. A constant clamor arose from the treasure ship. Just then, a cold, aged voice suddenly boomed out, carrying an undeniable dominance. "The ship ahead! Halt for this old man!" Immediately, a man in a long robe, with a jade-like, judgmental face, shouted loudly, his eyes filled with killing intent. "What in the world is going on? Why have we stopped?" Even a fool has his limits when provoked, let alone cultivators like them who could call the wind and summon the rain. Now the treasure ship being blocked out of nowhere has made a lot of people unhappy, and they're looking for somewhere to vent their anger. From the front, the aged voice continued to ring out. "Fellow Taoists, hand over those precious things you're holding onto. Don't force this old man to make a move." A commotion instantly broke out inside the treasure ship. "What? Highway robbery?" The shiplord went to the bow of the ship, tentatively asking with a respectful tone, as if confirming his suspicion. "May I ask, what is your esteemed name?" From afar, a person in a black robe embroidered with gold, their messy white hair stood on end, stood with one hand behind their back and the other stroking his beard. Their eyes like lightning quietly spoke. "Xuan Tian Sect's Ye Junlit." Beside him stood three figures. A tall, statuesque girl in a red dress, her skin as white as jade. She folded her arms in front of her chest, her ample bosom, and she had a very arrogant posture. A tall person wearing a straw hat, holding the handle of a broadsword at his waist, eyes gleaming, face full of meat, as if he'd draw his sword and chop you if you said the wrong thing. And a small figure, who looks like a man but dressed in a pink cheongsam, wearing a silver bowl-cut wig, and his appearance can't be seen clearly. These figures looked exactly like the four famous people in the legend. Holy crap, it's a fake squad, bros, haha. Next chapter's gonna be fun to watch. Remember to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for the next episode. Especially that old white-haired guy. When he publicly stated his identity, it scared the shiplord into a stupor. As soon as the words came out, the killing intent of the angry customers was instantly, like ice water poured on them. They couldn't help but shudder, their whole bodies trembling, their eyes looking forward full of fear. As for the treasure ship, the premium rooms, even the VIP suites, immediately retracted their killing intent, as if nothing had happened. Everyone was trembling and regretting their words just now. That person is the famous white-haired murder god who's known throughout the eastern region. He's dirtied his hands with the blood of tens of thousands of cultivators and stomped on the face of the feather transformation sect. Even at the Xia family's party before Xia broke through the tribulations, the giant sun void immortal, Xu Yang, who came looking for trouble, was immediately killed by him on the spot. It was also at that time that many people knew that Ye Junlin of the Xuantian sect wasn't just a venerable, but actually a true immortal. And now, this guy dares to block the road and rob people in broad daylight. The crowd there immediately stirred. Is that really him? I feel like someone of his stature wouldn't do something like this. It must be a fake. Are you blind or what? Don't you see those people next to him? They're exactly like they are in the legends. That woman is the Hong Fairy, that man is the Blade Devil Li Wuji, and that shortest one is the guard beside the Bai Fa Sha Shen. With this lineup, you still think it's fake? I really admire you for your intelligence. If you want to die, don't drag us down with you. Seeing this scene, the old white-haired man gave a meaningful smile, coughed a few times, and said with an act of seriousness, Li Wuji? The man in the straw hat respectfully replied, Master, your disciple is here, Ye Junlin continued. Hurry and accept the good intentions of these fellow friends, Li Wuji replied. Yes, master. Then, he turned around with a sinister smile, pulled out his broadsword, and rushed towards the treasure ship like a vicious robber, roaring, If you know what's good for you, quickly hand over all your valuables. Don't force this old man to chop you up. The cultivators on the deck only dared to be angry and dared not speak. Each of them only knew to take out their storage rings. Li Wuji paced leisurely with his broadsword, his eyes extremely vicious, and no one on the road dared to look him straight in the eye. It is said that the demon sword Li Wuji had chased and chopped the young master of the Xia family at the Xia family's party, and he could be said to be extremely reckless and without any rules. At this moment, seeing the man in the straw hat with an arrogant aura, everyone in their hearts became more and more certain. This is real. Li Wuji accepted their storage rings and then went to each place and brandished his broadsword, shouting, Damn it, are you dead in there? Everyone, get out here for this old man! Soon, a group of transformation god cultivators came out of the celestial-styled compartments, and more than a dozen integration realm cultivators came out of the Tao-style compartments. Their faces were ugly, and they obediently took out their valuable properties. Li Wuji collected them easily. Again on the boat, Mugen's room was still silent, and no movement made Li Wuji even more angry. Arriving at the most luxurious room on the ship, just as he raised his foot to kick the door, seeing this scene, the captain hurriedly ran over, smiled, and said, Sir, you absolutely can't. Inside there are 2 guests from Gongzhou. Those are big shots. You see, Li Wuji said with a fierce face, no matter how big of a shot they are, they have to give my master face. If they don't know what's good for them, then obediently get out. Otherwise, when my master makes a move, you will all die. Hearing these words, the captain was so frightened that his face turned pale. Suddenly, a steady voice rang out. This fellow Taoist, we are from the Gongzhou, asking Tao sect. May we be able to give us face, and let this matter pass, and we will personally go to the Xuantian sect to pay our respects and ask questions later? Li Wuji was startled, his heart pounding. That is one of the top 10 immortal sects in the eastern region. It is rumored that there have been several immortals since ancient times. Li Wuji thought to himself, oh my god, this time I've really hit a brick wall. But wait, what am I afraid of? Now I am the blade demon Li Wuji, a disciple of the white-haired murder god Ye Junlin, so what if the Asking Dao sect is amazing? At this moment, the door suddenly opened, and inside there was a middle-aged man wearing black and white clothes, with a goatee, standing with his hands behind his back, exuding the aura of the Great Ascension. Beside him was a woman with skin as white as jade and a soft figure wearing a yellow dress. At this time her eyes were wide open, and her beautiful face was full of anger. Li Wuji stood there in place, thinking in shock. There is actually a true venerable here. After his brain experienced a brief blank, Li Wuji quickly regained his composure, raised his broadsword, pointed at the middle-aged man, and said fiercely, "You want to make a move, right? Do you believe that my master will kill you?" Bang! The yellow-faced woman really had the temper of a young lady. She stood up and slammed the table, looking angrily as if she wanted to make a move. Behind her, the illusion of stars appeared, wanting to illuminate the space. Terrible, evil energy swirled throughout the entire room. Even though she was young, she had already cultivated to the integration realm, and moreover, she also possessed a special physique, and her future was limitless. Li Wuji was shocked in his heart, and almost turned around and ran. Thanks to his superb acting skills, he managed to maintain his composure, pretending to be calm and sneering, "Damn brat, are you planning to resist this old man?" The woman in yellow was angry, clenched her fist, and accumulated dazzling starlight, preparing to rush towards Li Wuji, shouting, "Who are you calling a damn brat?" At this moment, Fan Dezhang seemed to have made a decision. With a painful expression, he took out a storage ring, squeezed out a reluctant smile, and said, "This is the storage ring I have with me. Inside, there are about 100 million top-grade spirit stones, and a few spiritual weapons that can be considered valuable. I hope fellow Taoists will accept them, and tell Ye Void Immortal that this is a little bit of the intention of our Asking Dao sect." The ring glowed brightly, and flew towards Li Wuji, falling into his hand. Taking a deep breath, his heart was filled with excitement. "I'm rich, I'm really rich." And Miaoyi stamped her feet angrily, feeling that this matter was really shameful, and asked, "Uncle, how could you do this?" Fan Dezhang sighed, and said in a deep voice, "Fellow Taoist, are you satisfied?" Li Wuji pretended to be calm, and took the storage ring, snorted coldly. After taking that demonic blade freak, Li Wuji, as a disciple, and even forcing the Zhu family's old man to personally off his own wicked second son, how could I not be scared? Someone as unpredictable as him might just decide to go on a looting spree. This grand elder from the literary sect, who's usually revered in the sect and holds a high position, can't help but sound terrified when mentioning Ye Junlin's actions. Sheesh! Ang Miaoyi was so pissed her chest was going up and down like a bouncy castle. She paced back and forth, grinding her teeth. Ugh, why do such evil people exist? Fan Dezhang glanced at the furious girl in yellow, seeming to want to say something. He said solemnly, "Young miss, focus on cultivating. With your talent, you'll surpass the tribulation stage, and even achieve immortality someday. Don't forget, you possess the spiritual immortal physique. This kind of physique is no less impressive than the solar immortal physique of the Yuhua sect's holy son." Hearing this, An Miaoyi's eyes filled with determination. "Don't worry, Uncle Fan. I'll train hard. When I'm strong enough, I'll eliminate evil and uphold justice. I'll definitely destroy this kind of villain myself." Cut to a remote mountain peak, where a few figures sat cross-legged, dividing their spoils. Haha, Ye Junlin's name is really useful. These past few days, our robberies have all been successful, without exception. A short, dwarfish figure took off his hat, revealing a cunning grin. Hey, what a rush. I was so scared I almost blew our cover. Luckily, that venerable from the literary sect valued Ye Junlin's reputation so much that he obediently submitted, Li Wuji Fei said excitedly. "That's a venerable who's usually high and mighty. I never thought he'd show me respect. Haha, this feeling is awesome." A red-clad woman with a fiery figure rolled her eyes in mockery. "Peefed, take a look at yourself. You think he respects you? He respects the demonic blade, Li Wuji. Who are you? Just some small fry." Li Wuji Fai glared angrily at the woman. "Who are you calling that? Aren't you just a public ride? How long were you at Phoenix Spring Brothel? Do you still think you're Hong Xianzi? I spit on you." The red-clad woman stood up in fury, her chest heaving. "I'll tear your mouth apart." Li Wuji Fai drew his blade, full of bluster. "Come on, I'll chop you down, you chicken." At this moment, an old man with silver hair and cold eyes shouted, "Shut your mouths." The old man released a perfected god transformation aura, forcefully suppressing everyone present. Compared to these useless fools, the silver-haired old man's strength was undeniable. Moreover, this was a team he'd built from scratch. Most importantly, the old man possessed a technique to hide his cultivation. Thanks to this, they could always give their targets the impression of unfathomable strength. The silver-haired old man chuckled coldly. "Haha, you all think you're something special, huh? You don't even know your own weight. Let me tell you, you're not irreplaceable. I could just kill two of you. Find suitable replacements. Those who know what's good for them better watch out." Li Wuji Fei and the others felt respect and fear toward this scheming, bold figure, falling silent like quails. The silver-haired old man retracted his aura, a smirk on his lips. The saying goes, "The strong live, The weak die. Cultivation isn't just about talent and effort, but also requires massive cultivation resources as support. As a loose cultivator, he'd faced many difficulties, but remained stuck at the perfected god transformation stage for years. To break through, he had to do something. And this trip to the Medicine King Valley was a good opportunity. Taking advantage of the upcoming opening of the Medicine King Valley, impersonating Ye Junlin was the perfect opportunity to cut grass and eliminate roots. Because during this time, traffic was at its peak, and it was the most profitable time to just sit back and enjoy the fruits of their labor. Luckily, Ye Junlin had a fearsome reputation, and with his team, all the targets directly abandoned resistance, obediently forking over money for peace, earning them a tidy sum. This made the silver-haired old man secretly sigh at his own cleverness. As for whether doing this would negatively affect Ye Junlin, he didn't have the slightest regret. After all, this robbery was no different from a mosquito biting a horse compared to wiping out an army of million cultivators. The old man's eyes lit up and he laughed coldly. After this last score, everyone will disband. We'll play even bigger next time. Rumble. Suddenly, dark clouds rolled in from the horizon, and a massive body, tens of thousands of meters long, soared past, creating a powerful airstream. Even from afar, the terrifying pressure made people's hearts pound. The silver-haired old man felt his scalp tingle, his whole body as if he'd fallen into an ice cave. His eyes revealed utter horror. What is that? So scary. What kind of demonic beast is that? It was Tem Ye Junlin Hung Yu's Kun Peng just flew past. Lucky for them, they weren't discovered. Otherwise, they'd all be screwed. Li Wuji Fei swallowed hard, his face pale. The red-clad woman trembled, so frightened she nearly lost control of her bowels. When the massive figure disappeared, the group finally breathed a sigh of relief, their backs soaked with cold sweat. At the same time, inside the Kun Peng's massive magical barrier, there was a miniature mountain stream, pavilions, and beautiful scenery, like a floating island. So relaxing. Ye Junlin lay on a chair, enjoying the peace and quiet. Beside him, Hong Tianye sat holding Bai Xiaoxi and gently scratching its head. Ye Junlin spoke. Little Hong, your punishment period is almost over. Your master will give you a wonderful gift. Little Shi, go get the chocolate ice cream that your master has carefully prepared. Bai Xiaoxi took the finished product and ran over excitedly. Senior brother, here's the swirl ice cream you wanted, the chocolate flavor, Ye Junlin replied. Just leave it there. At this moment, Hong Tianye stood up and looked at the ice cream that Zhao Ji had brought. The corner of his mouth lifted into a slight smile. Hong Tianye shrugged, picked up the ice cream made by Bai Xiaoxi, looked down at expression like an old man on the subway looking at his phone and thought, wow, this shape looks like a pile of dung, and it's black too. Hong Tianye looked at the item that looked like an exam, his expression like he was constipated. Is this food? Seeing Hong Tianye pondering while looking at it, Ye Junlin asked, Little Hong, are you not satisfied with the reward your master gave you? Finally, Hong Tianye tried to restrain his discomfort and secretly used his fingers to scoop a piece and put it into his mouth. At that moment, Hong Tianye's eyes lit up, and he no longer resisted. As before, the coolness melted away. Hong Tianye's face beamed, and he blurted out in his head, This is ice cream. It's delicious, master. Li Wuji ran over excitedly to report, Master, we've arrived at Wuju. I heard that the Medicine King Valley will open in a few days. Li Wuji's eyes immediately shifted to Hong Tianye, who was eating black ice cream next to him. His expression was strange as he thought, Oh, senior brother Hong looks like he's eating. It's really hard for senior brother Hong to pretend to enjoy eating like that. At this time, Ye Junlin raised his eyebrows and asked Li Wuji, What is this Medicine King Valley? Li Wuji replied. It is a land of many natural treasures, with all kinds of natural treasures and precious spirit medicines. At this moment, the system sound rang in Ye Junlin's head. Ding. Discovered that the host has entered Wu Zhao, specially refreshing the check-in location. Please complete the check-in at Medicine King Valley to receive great benefits. The system's notification sound rang in his head. Ye Junlin said, Since we're here, let's take a trip to Medicine King Valley. Anyway, if there are benefits, let's go. Cut to Heavenly Spirit City. Heavenly Spirit City has gathered many monks recently, because Medicine King Valley is about to open. Inns and restaurants from all directions are packed. It is common to see a foundation establishment cultivator every 5 steps, and a golden core cultivator every 10 steps. Although monks occasionally have conflicts, they quickly subsided, because there are many bosses hidden here, fearing that they will accidentally bump into someone and die on the road. The Dragon Gate Inn was crowded with people, extremely lively. 4 figures in cloaks stood in front of the inn looking at the sign. Li Wuji said respectfully, Master, this is the largest inn within 100 miles. We can stay here for a few days and wait until Medicine King Valley officially opens before going in. The leader was tall, with thick silver hair hidden under his hat, and under the brim was a handsome face, his eyes like sparkling stars. Ye Junlin nodded. Okay, let's stay at this inn. Although we can stay on the Kunpeng, it's a bit boring after staying there for a long time. If we move into this inn, we can experience the local customs and hear about interesting things recently. When the 4 of them walked in, the waiter stretched out his hand to greet them. Please come inside, esteemed guests. Ye Junlin and the others walked into the inn. Because they were wearing hoods covering their faces, the surrounding guests didn't pay much attention. The reason for doing this was to avoid affecting the surrounding order. After all, Ye Junlin's 4 people are too famous throughout the entire eastern region of the cultivation world. Gathering together easily attracts attention. Hong Tianye followed behind, hesitating for a long time before daring to open his mouth. Quote, Master, why do we have to hide like this? In the eyes of this demon sect leader, they all possess strength, and there was absolutely no need to worry about the eyes of outsiders. Anyone who dared to talk nonsense would be killed. Ye Junlin sighed and said, Oh, my reputation is so great now. There will definitely be many die-hard fans. If I reveal my identity, they will flock to me to ask for autographs, which will make me very miserable. Hearing that, Hong Tianye choked, his facial muscles twitching. He'd thought of countless reasons along the way, but never considered this. Sure enough, you shouldn't use a normal person's way of thinking to guess what he's thinking. Hong Tianye took a deep breath, his face full of self-blame, mentally preparing himself again. It's my fault. Very wrong. Ye Junlin picked a spot on the second floor, gently tapping the table and asked, "Hey waiter, anything worth trying here?" The waiter quickly rushed over, smiling. "You've come to the right person, sir. I'll recommend some of our restaurant specialties. I guarantee the flavor is amazing." Saying that, he opened the menu and introduced, "Take this, braised lion's head meat." The lion's head meat here is taken from a nascent soul realm rampaging lion. The chef chops off its head, roasts it over and over. The outer layer is crispy, and the inside is fresh, tender, and fatty. And this sweet and sour carp, this isn't your average carp. It contains a trace of true dragon bloodline in its body. It's absolutely amazing to eat, incredibly delicious. And this spicy stir-fried beef. The ingredients are taken from a transformation god realm, Azure Skyox. Eating it will fill you with energy and strengthen your chi and blood. The waiter introduced these specialties while secretly observing Ye Junlin's expression, because these dishes are quite expensive. Although there have been a lot of customers these days, basically no cultivator can afford the prices on the menu and are scared away. But this time it seems a bit different. Ye Junlin wasn't fazed by the prices on the menu. He's seen it all anyway. Back in Great Zoo, everything was worth thousands of gold. Even scrambled eggs with tomatoes used eggs from the Prajna rock. The dishes the waiter introduced are just a bit novel, but not too exaggerated. At this time, Bai Xiaoxi pointed to a dish on the menu called Jade-like Snow. "What about this one? Chirp chirp. This one looks interesting." Looking puzzled, the waiter smiled. "You have a good eye, sir. The ingredients for this dish are taken from Arctic ice rats. Arctic ice rats live in the frigid north. They like to burrow into the ice and snow. After our chef's professional handling, the meat is very fatty. Each piece of meat is as transparent as snow, so it's named like that. I recommend you prepare a hot pot to dip the meat in." Bai Xiaoxi still had some appetite, but hearing such cruel descriptions, she almost fainted. The waiter tentatively asked, "Sir, would you like this dish?" Xiaoxi shook her head repeatedly, her voice with a sob. "No, chirp chirp, no more." The waiter's face was strange, thinking, "Huh? Why is this little girl's reaction so big? Wait, does she look like a furry rat?" Ye Junlin took out a storage ring with abundant wealth and slammed it on the table. "Besides that snowflower jade meat, I want everything you just mentioned." The waiter was startled. His divine sense probed into the space. Seeing it full of high-grade spirit stones, his mouth was dry, his tongue parched, his heart pounding, thinking in his head, "Wow, what a big spender." The waiter stuttered and quickly left the scene. "Yes, this guest, please wait a moment. I will inform the kitchen to prepare immediately." Xiaoxi hugged her head, tears streaming down, feeling sad for the fate of her own kind. "Oh, Xiaoxi is so cute. Why have to eat Xiaoxi?" Ye Junlin stroked her head, finding it funny. Li Wuji, with his rich experience, commented, echoing his disciple's opinion. "That chef's skill is excellent. The dishes come out fast, powerful, and accurate. But just now, the aura was a bit unstable, probably due to being too rushed. He is a culinary cultivator and very passionate about it." Hong Tianye's eyes narrowed slightly. "Shh, listen. It sounds like people are talking about us." Ye Junlin pretended to be calm, but actually raised his ears to listen. "I usually have a lot of fans." Murmurs echoed in the inn, focusing on a topic. "It's so pathetic. I ran into that annoying Ye Junlin before. All the spirit stones I painstakingly saved were robbed by him." "What?" "Me too. Not just spirit stones, but also 6 7th-grade treasures, 30 profound-grade talismans, 5 top-grade elixirs. All were robbed by that beast?" "Oh, it seems like you all have been robbed. I thought I was the only unlucky one who was caught by that fake dog. Oh, seeing that you fellow Taoists have suffered, I feel much better in my heart." Intense discussions filled the entire Dragon Gate Inn, with 8 out of 10 victims standing up to condemn Ye Junlin as shameless and a despicable villain. Like a major protest, everyone unanimously cursed Ye Junlin. It could be said they were fiercely angry. They acted as if the Ye Junlin in their mouths was an unforgivable criminal, worthy of being punished by heaven, ground to dust, and pushed into the 18 layers of hell, never to be reincarnated. Hong Tianye lowered his head, his shoulders shaking, as if trying to hold back laughter. Ha ha ha. At this moment, this demonic sect leader was extremely satisfied in his heart. Hearing the guests cursing and condemning Ye Junlin, he felt that heaven had eyes, retribution was not wrong, every pore was opening, and even his soul wanted to escape. When Hong Tianye heard these people angrily cursing Ye Junlin, he felt a sense of empathy from the bottom of his heart, a true expression, so refreshing and comfortable. "Ha ha! The heroes cursed well, saying all the words in my heart." "Ye Junlin, you also have a time when you are cursed by 10,000 people. See, this is the will of the people. Even a person suffers." Li Wuji was completely astonished, never expecting this situation. In his impression, his master wasn't someone who would do these things. Immediately, killing intent replaced the look on Li Wuji's face. His right hand clenched the hilt of his blade, getting up, ready to draw it and slaughter. "Insulting my master. Die." At this time, a large hand pressed down on his shoulder, forcefully holding Li Wuji back. Surprise flashed in Li Wuji's eyes. "Master! Master, you!" Ye Junlin shook his head. "Don't be agitated. Listening to them, it's clear that someone is impersonating me to scam others. Who wouldn't be upset being cursed for no reason? It's really like sitting at home and getting hit by trouble from the sky." Ye Junlin tried to remain calm, his expression somewhat unsightly. He saw his eldest disciple next to him bowing his head. He said meaningfully, "Little Hong, if you want to laugh, just laugh, don't hold it in." Hearing this sentence, Hong Tianye suddenly felt a chill down his spine. Large beads of sweat rolled down his forehead. Next, he quickly adjusted his state. When he looked up again, his face was full of anger. His eyes were about to spew fire, angrily gritting his teeth and saying, "Damn it, these insects are really despicable. Master, as long as you give the order, this disciple will immediately take action, leaving no one alive. Haha." Ye Junlin knew that with Hong Tianye's scheming personality, when he saw him being cursed, he must be secretly laughing in his heart, just not showing it on the outside. Otherwise, he would probably jump in and join the fun because he was too excited. Another person said, "It is rumored that Hong Tianye has a nation-toppling appearance, a cold and unparalleled temperament that makes countless men admire. But when I saw her with my own eyes, she wasn't what was rumored at all. Although her appearance is quite decent, somehow there is a scent that seems to be from a courtesan. You are right, with my many years of experience playing around, Hong Tianye only deserves a fair ranking. I don't understand why the rumors are so exaggerated outside. Hearing is not as good as seeing." Another man chimed in, his face full of lust. "Fellow Taoist is too objective. To tell the truth, the first time I saw Hong Tianye, I almost drooled. That place is really vast and boundless, making me want to reach out and squeeze it. Ha ha." The whole group burst out laughing. The anger from before vanished, and the atmosphere became much more lively. Although the male cultivators didn't say it, their exchanged glances showed that they all understood each other's intentions. Hearing this, Hong Tianye's face stiffened. The smile just now disappeared instantly, replaced by a raging anger like a sea of fire. His whole body trembled with anger, his teeth gnashed, his eyes wanted to devour them all alive. "You." Sitting next to him, Li Wuji heard those lewd comments. His expression became strange, and his eyes inadvertently glanced at Hong Tianye's flat chest. This small gesture immediately hit Hong Tianye's sensitive nerve, causing the anger in his heart to erupt violently. Intentionally or unintentionally glanced at his senior brother's flat chest. This small act struck Hong Tianye's sensitive nerve, causing his anger to almost erupt. Hong Tianye smiled a smile so terrifying that people couldn't help but shiver. "Junior brother Li, what are you looking at?" Limil Wuji. The hair on Limil Wuji's body stood on end, feeling like he was being stared at by a great devil. Li Wuji rubbed his eyes, pretending not to see anything, putting on a clumsy act, and making up an excuse that made Hong Tianye feel insulted to his intelligence. "Hong, senior brother Hong, actually, there was a grain of sand that flew into my eye, don't misunderstand." When Hong Tianye continued to press, Yi Junlin pretended to cough a few times, his tone teasing. "Little Hong, be generous. Plus they are talking about a female imposter. Are you a woman? Why are you so agitated if you're a man?" Hong Tianye seemed to have swallowed something. His face was unsightly, and the corners of his eyes twitched violently. Even if he had 10,000 words he wanted to retort, he couldn't resist the harsh reality. Logically, these people were cursing a female imposter. What did that have to do with him as a man? It had nothing to do with it. Ye Junlin spoke up and asked, "Hong Tianye, have you accepted the title of Hong Fairy? Why are you reacting so violently?" Hong Tianye's face stiffened, and he quickly shook his head to affirm. "I didn't," Ye Junlin asked again. "Really didn't?" Hong Tianye was so anxious that he was about to jump up, vehemently denying, "I really didn't." At the same time, the waiter brought the food in and said, "Esteemed guests, here is your food." The waiter smiled wryly. Then a table full of delicious dishes was served, smelling fragrant. It attracted Bai Xiaoxi, who wasn't hungry, but seeing this scene, her nose twitched, her eyes lit up, and she said, "Wow, so fragrant." She grabbed her chopsticks, quickly picked up the food, and ate until her face was beaming. The waiter stepped back and said, "Honored guests, please enjoy your meal. I will leave now. If you need anything, please call." Ye Junlin urged everyone, "Let's eat, and the imposters will gradually reveal themselves." On the way out, the waiter walked and looked into Ye Junlin's room, muttering, "Why do these people look so familiar?" On the other side of the corridor, two people were sitting and eating. A woman in yellow with a slender figure sneered, "Uncle Pa, did you hear that? Everyone is cursing Ye Junlin. The people's hearts are there." Fan Dezheng sighed. "Miss, they are just talking. With those powerful figures, they won't be swayed by rumors. What if 1,000 people criticize him?" Ding Yao stomped her feet angrily. "Uncle, why do you always defend that jerk?" Fan Dezheng smiled bitterly. Okay, I won't say any more. If the room is missing anything, I'll tell the owner to buy more." So, a hearty meal was quickly devoured, leaving Bai Xiaoxi super satisfied, while the other three unhappily waddled out of the dining hall. Ye Junlin and the gang happened to stroll past Fan Dezheng and An Miaoyi. Fan Dezheng watched their backs as they walked away, feeling inexplicably uneasy. An Miaoyi looked up and asked, "Papa Fan, what are you looking at?" Fan Dezheng, his face serious, said in a low voice, "I sense that those people have profound martial arts skills, especially the one in the lead. He gives me a feeling of utter helplessness." An Miaoyi's eyes widened, looking incredulous. "No way! You should know that you are the grand elder of the Wen Dao sect, with a cultivation base that has reached the great perfection of the Mahayana realm. And you possess several ancient secret techniques of the sect. Your strength is terrifying, yet even you are wary of them. Those guys, especially the one in the lead, make you feel helpless. How strong could that person possibly be?" An Miaoyi swallowed hard and asked, "Could he be a loose immortal?" Fan Dezheng gave a bitter laugh. "Miss, be careful when you go out. The Yawang Valley is about to open, and this inn is sure to be filled with powerful cultivators. It's normal for some to be stronger than me." Scene change. Outside the inn, several oddly shaped figures appeared. Then, on the other side, in a dark corner of the Longmen Inn, more than 10 bizarre figures of the demon race emerged, their black pupils narrowed, snake tongues darting out, and an evil aura filled their gazes as they stared at the inn with murderous intent. A subordinate respectfully asked, "Honorable High Priest, is it time to act now?" Jia Lugu wore a silver-mouthed hat and a magnificent robe symbolizing earth, holding a jade scepter inlaid with emeralds that emitted a mysterious green light in the night. He flicked his tongue, his eyes cruelly sinister, his voice, cold and deep, as if from hell, weakened the resistance of the human race. "Tonight I will begin the great massacre plan from this inn, all for the holy war of Manhwa," Jia Lugu coldly said. The illusory Dream Grand Formation is an extremely ancient formation. There are almost no records of it in the outside world. But the snake demons have preserved it perfectly. This formation can make people fall into a deep sleep and enter a dreamland created by desire, until their spirits are destroyed, leaving only a sandy soul. This process cannot be interrupted, or it will fail. Swish, 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 more than 10 snake demons scattered to occupy various positions in the Longmen Inn. They cut their hands with knives, and purple blood flowed out, drawing on the ground. Ancient, dark veins gradually took shape, emitting a demonic aura, flashing with a strange purple light. A mysterious and peculiar invisible force enveloped the Longmen Inn. The 10 or so snake demons maintained the formation with utmost care, afraid of making mistakes, because any mistake would create a loophole, awaken the sleeping cultivators, and ruin the entire plan. Jia Lugu's magical power surged violently, frantically pouring into the emerald scepter, which emitted a dazzling, soul-stirring light. Jia Lugu believed that with his Mahayana cultivation, plus the full deployment of the illusory Dream Grand Formation by more than 10 core formation members of the clan, it would be enough to trap all creatures below the Tribulation Transcension realm. Many cultivators in the inn began to fall asleep unknowingly. Some lay sprawled on the table, drool escaping their mouths. Some maintained a sitting posture, but their minds had sunk into a dream. The three bros Hong Tianye, Bai Shaoxi, and Li Wuji were now fast asleep, lost in a beautiful dream. Many cultivators in the inn began to fall asleep without realizing it. Some were slumped over tables, drool trickling from the corners of their mouths, while others remained seated, but their minds had already drifted into dreams. The three young men, Hong Tianye, Bai Shaoxi, and Li Wuji, were sleeping soundly, completely high on dreams. At this moment, they were having beautiful dreams, fulfilling their long-awaited wishes on a desolate battlefield. The cultivators of the Luin realm watched in despair as the demon army rampaged, the scene as cruel as the apocalypse descending. A white-haired old man cried out miserably, "Ah, heaven wants to destroy our Luin army." The demon army was like locusts, bringing death and destruction wherever they went, leaving behind mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Just then, a heaven-defying blade aura descended like divine punishment, striking the middle of the demon army, creating destructive power. Countless demons screamed, their nascent souls annihilated. A demon general exclaimed in fear, "Which powerhouse has made a move?" A majestic voice echoed across the heavens and earth, "It is I." In the high sky stood a majestic figure with disheveled hair, instantly emitting a cold light, holding a 40-foot-long great sword, his posture extremely domineering. Countless people cried tears of joy. "It's him! It's him! Blade God Li Wuji, the savior of the Jiyu Lun realm, has appeared." The demon general was so shocked he almost screamed himself hoarse. "Blade God! You are the Blade God! You are known as the strongest blade cultivator in the Jiyu Lun realm, the #1 person in the history of the blade path." HMPH. Li Wuji's eyes were like lightning, his voice resolute. "Anyone who invades the Lun army shall die." With that, Li Wuji swung his 40-foot-long great sword, cleaving the entire sky and earth, plunging the universe into darkness. Even the great Dabayo was destroyed. Ah! The demons screamed as they were buried by the earth-shattering blade aura and turned into nothingness. The Jiyu Lun realm resounded with cheers, and everyone knelt on the ground in worship, moved to tears. Blade God Li Wuji, you are our hero. Li Wuji, his face serious, raised his 40-foot-long greatsword and uttered the most powerful words, "Jiyu Lun realm, I will protect you." In another illusion, on a high and mighty throne, sat a slender figure, his eyes haughty. All the strong under heaven knelt on the ground like slaves. Ye Junlin sighed, "Man, times are really messed up. People have changed." The system's notification then chimed in. "Ding! System detects that host hasn't checked in for 2 months. Would you like to complete your check-in?" Ye Junlin replied. "Yup." "Ding! Congratulations, host. You have received a top-grade spirit stone mine." "Ding! Congratulations, host. You have received 5 sovereign-tier flameguard talismans." "Ding! Congratulations, host. You have received 10 bags of top-grade pet food." "Ding! Congratulations, host. You have received the eternal life flute of myriad realms." All check-in rewards have been automatically stored in the system space. Ye Junlin raised an eyebrow. "Eternal life flute? Tongzi, what level is this thing?" The system replied, "Ding! It doesn't have a level. The flute's power entirely depends on the host's flute-playing skills and cultivation base." Ye Junlin suddenly remembered that his flute-playing skills seemed to be at the highest level. Feeling the long night and recalling the turmoil of the day, Ye Junlin wanted to play a tune to ease his sorrows. Swish! A flash of light appeared in his hand, revealing a green flute, its entire body radiating an ancient, mysterious emerald glow. It was indeed the eternal life flute. Ye Junlin held the flute to his lips, and a clear, melodious tune, full of mystical agility, poured forth. Ye Junlin didn't use his cultivation, he simply relied on his feeling for playing the flute. Yet, it still emitted wondrous ripples that resonated with heaven and earth. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the wind picked up in the room. Ye Junlin's snow-white hair fluttered, his pupils shone brightly, and his temperament became ethereal, like a nine heavens immortal playing the flute. More than a dozen members of the evil serpent clan's expressions changed. What's that sound? They worried that someone was breaking the formation. The weird thing was, they weren't injured or anything. It was like it was just a simple piece of music, especially soothing. Ayo! One clansman stuck out his tongue and started wriggling and dancing to the music uncontrollably. This music is so amazing. It reminds me of my childhood back in the tribe. Jia Lugu discovered the anomaly and roared, "You idiot, what are you doing?" But the clansman ignored him, still dancing to the flute music. Maybe it was the nature of snakes? Their bodies were very flexible? Not only that, but the evil serpent clansmen, one by one, gave up on maintaining the illusion formation, immersing themselves in their own worlds, forgetting everything, swaying and shaking their butts. A truly repulsive scene. Jia Lugu was stunned. He'd never seen such a bizarre sight. Immediately. Jia Lugu realized it was all due to that damn flute music. The flute music stimulated the snakes, nature, causing them to dance. Jia Lugu's face turned fierce, his sharp fangs flashing. Who the hell is doing this? Show yourself! The flute music became more and more influential and melodious. With a stronger emphasis, gloomy spreads around. Suddenly his pupils lost focus. His hands closed into a flower shape above his head, imagining himself as a sunflower, his body swaying in the wind, a tipsy smile on his lips. Damn, seeing these water snakes like this is hilarious, bros. As they danced, the illusion formation stopped working. Inside the Longman Inn, Fan Dezheng startled awake, suddenly feeling terrified. I was just caught in an illusion. Fan Dezheng was clearly a high-level cultivator. He wouldn't fall into a dreamscape for no reason. There must be a mastermind behind it. Fan Dezheng thought of something and exclaimed. Not good. His figure vanished, infiltrating the room next door. Before him, Adin Yao sat cross-legged, her expression calm, her eyes closed and still asleep. A faint smile on her lips, clearly having a sweet dream. Fan Dezheng chanted an incantation, shooting a stream of light into the golden-clothed woman's forehead. Miss, wake up! Endi Yao's body trembled. Her eyelashes fluttered, and her beautiful eyes opened, revealing a look of bewilderment. Uncle Fan, sir, Fan Dezheng said gravely. We've fallen into a trap. Endi Yao wrinkled her nose, seeming to think of something, her heart racing. A trap. Fan Dezheng's face darkened. No wonder, I felt like I didn't want to wake up, and the more I indulged, the more tired I became. If I'm not mistaken, the enemy set up an illusion formation. It's one of those ancient and malicious formations from legends, one that can make people unknowingly fall asleep until they die in their dreams. Thinking of this, Fan Dezheng felt a chill down his spine, secretly rejoicing. Even a great ascension completion powerhouse like him had difficulty restraining himself. If this continued, he'd lose his life here, without any signs of battle, dying silently. And Din Yao didn't believe it. How vicious. What do they want to do? Kill and rob us? Fan Dezheng said in a low voice. Miss, don't wander around, I'll go out and check the situation. Whoosh! His figure flashed, disappearing instantly, then flying from inside the room to the outside. He arrived on the roof of the inn. Fan Dezheng's pupils constricted as the nether abyss creatures, along with Jia Lugu and the others, stopped dancing. Because the flute music had suddenly stopped, they regained their senses, their expressions uncertain and suspicious. One clansman's scalp tingled, very worried. High Priest, about that strange phenomenon just now. Can this plan still continue? Jia Lugu's eyes flashed with murderous intent as he said coldly. Although it was interrupted just now, most of the human cultivators will choose to continue sleeping soundly because of the beautiful dreamscape. As long as we provide timely treatment, there's still a chance. An angry shout rang out. Stop! Fan Dezheng's figure flickered, his eyes like lightning bolts, as he angrily shouted, Hey! Nether Abyss fiends! How dare you attack our human race? Jia Lugu's eyes revealed disdain as he coldly replied. So what? My Nether Abyss army will definitely sweep through the eastern region. Killing you and these cultivators first is no big deal. Fan Dezheng waved his hand, and a demonic sword appeared, its sword energy glittering, radiating the aura of a great ascension stage. You're too arrogant! This is our race's territory. Jia Lugu, although 2 minor stages weaker, was still very powerful, and, not afraid at all. Human race, don't think I'm scared of you. Scared my ass. This time, I'll hack you all to death, not leaving a single one, then soak you in wine for the Eastern Region brothers to replenish their strength. From afar, Li Wuji's eyes were sharp as an eagle's, and he appeared aggressively, wielding a long saber. Humph, who did you think you are? Turns out, it's a Nether Abyss weirdo. At that moment, an icy voice rang out. For dirty and lowly creatures like you to dare to plot against me! Hung Tianye appeared with her hands clasped behind her back. This demonic sect leader had flawless beauty, but her face was covered in murderous intent, her phoenix eyes radiating golden light as if wanting to incinerate everything, her imposing aura soaring, along with 2 more great ascension stages. Jia Lugu and his subordinates broke out in cold sweats. Fan Dezheng's eyes twitched. These 2 Dao friends, both the middle-aged man wielding the saber and the woman in red, gave him immense pressure. More importantly, why did he have an inexplicable feeling of familiarity? Where did he feel he'd met these 2 before? Hong Tianye and Li Wuji had obviously also realized they'd been tricked by the formation, and had escaped the illusion. They were extremely angry, both hating the opponent for using this method, and regretting their sweet dreams being destroyed, returning to the cruel reality. Therefore, they poured all their blame onto Jia Lugu, the high priest. The subordinates trembled. The other side had 3 great ascension stages, Jialugu initially panicked but quickly calmed down, saying in a low voice, "Everyone, transfer all your power to me, quick!" The subordinates immediately complied, following his orders. A torrent of power poured into Jialugu. Boom! Jialugu's eyes nearly burst, his whole body radiating dense, murderous intent, raising his staff high. The emerald on top of the staff trembled violently, then cracked open, and a giant dark green ball of light shot out, engulfing Jialugu and his subordinates. Jialugu was in excruciating pain, knowing that his most precious weapon had been destroyed. But it was worth it if it could be exchanged for a chance to survive. Fan Dezheng's expression changed, and he attacked with his sword. Not good? They want to escape? Bang bang! Hong Tianye and Li Wuji blocked the way. Jialugu said smugly, "It's useless. This staff was bestowed by the clan leader. Even someone at the tribulation transcension stage would have difficulty stopping me, let alone you guys." The dark green ball of light was about to disappear into the void, and at that critical moment, the flute music rang out again. But this time, the melodious rhythm contained a kind of irresistible principle. Hong Tianye and the others couldn't help but stop their hands, their expressions astonished. Jialugu realized something. His smug smile disappeared, replaced by despair. "No," Li Wuji touched his nose, feeling uneasy. "Why does this flute music make me want to dance?" As for Jialugu, he frowned, instinctively thinking of the source of the flute music, and his eyes turned towards the front. He seemed to see some kind of scene, and the corners of his eyes twitched. "Yo, what the heck is going on here?" Just then, the glowing green orb dissipated, revealing over a dozen beautiful figures. These half-human, half-snake creatures were writhing their bodies, swaying their waists, and flicking their forked tongues like they were drunk. Amidst this wild revelry, Jialugu went even further, planting his staff into the ground and then dancing like a maniac. He'd spin, he'd do some crazy moves, as if he were holding a steel rod instead of a staff. Li Wuji looked disgusted, gripping his blade tighter. "Damn it, are they, like, provoking us?" Hong Tianye got goosebumps watching the dancing snakes. He felt like he needed to wash his eyes out ASAP. Fan Dezheng was stunned, then realized, "It's a flute." His heart trembled. The melodious flute resonated with the great Dao and contained profound artistic concepts, making it hard to break free once you listened. The scariest part was that it didn't require any cultivation. It relied solely on secret sonic symbols to communicate with all things. Who could do this? Their skill must have reached an unmatched level, worthy of being revered by all musicians in the eastern region. Farron Dizhang knew that without this senior, the cultivators at the Longmen Inn were doomed. Farron Dizhang sighed. As expected, this inn was full of hidden masters. Inside her room, An Miaoyi's eyes lit up as she tilted her head, listening intently, and said in surprise, "Who's playing the flute here?" The flute music was melodious and leisurely, very gentle. The more An Miaoyi listened, the more she liked it, feeling that the person playing this tune must be very interesting. Over there, Ye Junlin stopped playing the flute midway to switch techniques, adjust his mood, and think to himself, "Not bad, playing the flute is relaxing, soothing both body and mind." As for the things happening outside, Ye Junlin knew, but he was too lazy to care. He had 2 disciples to handle it. A moment later, Ye Junlin finished playing the flute, seemingly sensing something. Stepping outside and opening the door, he saw a beautiful woman in yellow, with fair skin and a captivating appearance. An Miaoyi, who was immersed in the flute music, took a few steps back when the door opened, her hands trembling. Her big, bright eyes reflected the figure of a silver-haired young man, exuding an otherworldly aura, like a fallen immortal. An Miaoyi's heart raced. She didn't expect the musician to be so handsome. She stammered, all flustered. Senior, I'm sorry for disturbing you. I actually wanted to." Seeing An Miaoyi open the door and come in, Ye Junlin thought curiously, "I wonder if my identity has been exposed. How else would someone seek me out all the way here for an autograph?" Ye Junlin's eyes lit up. He immediately pulled her in and closed the door. The two looked at each other. Ye Junlin urged, "Hey, hurry up and show me the painting." An Miaoyi wondered if she had misheard. Her mind went blank. Ye Junlin looked anxious, reaching out as if to grab something. "Can you hurry up? Hurry up and give it to me." An Miaoyi's beautiful face flushed red, her mind dizzy. As the daughter of the sect leader of the Shenwen Dao sect, she had been sought after by countless talented young men using all sorts of schemes and tricks, but she only found them superficially amusing. But this kind of straightforward, no-nonsense man like tonight was something An Miaoyi had never seen. Even though she was drawn to Ye Junlin's flute music and somewhat swayed by his handsome appearance, to make such a request right after meeting was just too much. An Miaoyi felt it was too brash, even losing all goodwill. Lost in thought, An Miaoyi pushed away the silver-haired youth in front of her, shaking her head and saying, "This young master, please show some respect. I am not that kind of woman." This time, it was Ye Junlin's turn to stare blankly as he asked, "What do you mean? I just need a pen to sign my name. Do you have to be so serious, miss? You don't want my autograph, do you?" An Miaoyi was stunned, her mind quickly processing things, and she finally realized she had misunderstood. Immediately, her face turned even redder, like a ripe red apple. But quickly, An Miaoyi adjusted her expression, asking suspiciously, "Why would I need your autograph? Are you very famous in the eastern region?" Ye Junlin was speechless, thinking, "So this girl doesn't know who I am." An Miaoyi explained, "Your flute music is very good. You're obviously a famous musician in your hometown, but I've never met you before. I was just drawn by the flute music and dared to come and ask." Ye Junlin was slightly embarrassed. "I see, it was impetuous of me. It's fate that we met." An Miaoyi generously clasped her hands politely. "This one is An Miaoyi, a local of Gongzhou. May I ask for your honorable name, young master?" Ye Junlin paused for a moment, then said, "Miss An, My name is Ye Fan, and I come from Huangju. Ye Junlin had a premonition that this time, the Medicine King Valley would gather heroes from all over the world, and that fake name would definitely take this opportunity to stir up a storm, so he thought it best to hide his real identity to avoid trouble and prevent anyone from leaking information early. Han Miaoyi widened her beautiful eyes, covering her soft lips slightly and saying, "You're from Huangju?" Han Miaoyi elaborated. "Young Master Ye, actually, I used to have a very bad impression of Huangzhou. The elders all said it was a poor, backward land, the poorest region in the eastern region. It would be too difficult for even a transformation god to appear there." Ye Junlin wasn't angry, nodding slightly. Indeed, in Huangju before, nascent soul cultivators could roam freely, let alone transformation gods, An Miaoyi said. But now the appearance of the Xuantian sect has changed my perception of Huangju. I suddenly realized it's a place that's been severely underestimated. Ye Junlin smiled and said, "So now you have a better impression of Huangju?" An Miaoyi put her hands on her hips, saying angrily, "No, it's worse." Hearing this, Ye Junlin was stunned, blurting out, "What?" An Miaoyi continued. The elusive peak master of the Xuantian sect, Ye Junlin, relies on his high cultivation to do evil. Recently, he even led his disciples to Wuzhu to rob cultivators from all over. And even I and Father Ba were victims. A void immortal crossing tribulation stage person doing such despicable things is a disgrace to the cultivation world of the eastern region. Cough, cough. Ye Junlin coughed a few times, saying solemnly, "Miss Anne, I think there must be some misunderstanding. In the eyes of us Huangzu people, Ye Junlin is a perfect man, almost non-existent. Not only is he strong and virtuous, but he's also so handsome that he could blow up the world. Even I, as a man, was almost bewitched by him. Tell me, how could such an excellent man do such shameful things?" Hearing this, An Miaoyi looked strange, staring at the silver-haired youth in front of her and replying, "Impossible. If she hadn't seen Ye Junlin before with her own eyes, she might have actually been swayed. As for being strong, she definitely believed it, but she didn't believe at all that he was virtuous and handsome." An Miaoyi's beautiful eyes sparkled, her voice sincere. "Young Master Ye, there's no one else here. You can tell me the truth. You don't have to worry about speaking out and being retaliated against by that old white-haired woman." Ye Junlin's mouth twitched, sighing. "Miss An, your imagination is very rich," An Miaoyi continued. Looking at young Master Ye's expression, it was enough to prove how many crimes that old white-haired man had committed. He used cruel methods to oppress the people of Huangzhou. You're lying. In truth, you're terrified of that old white-haired man to the bone, and you live a very miserable life, right? And Miaoyi clenched her fist, looking full of indignation. "Don't be afraid. Justice will eventually triumph over evil. I will try to cultivate Stonger, and then go kill that old white-haired man, saving the suffering people of Huangzhou." Ye Junlin could see that this woman hated Ye Junlin, and sympathized with him. An Miaoyi frowned. "Young Master Ye, am I wrong?" Ye Junlin raised his left finger, replying, Right, go for it. I have high hopes for you," defeat Ye Junlin. An Miaoyi nodded vigorously, not hearing anything unusual in these words. An Miaoyi continued, "That's right, young Master Ye. You have to be careful of this inn." An Miaoyi didn't finish her sentence before sensing something, decisively opening the door and walking out, saying, "Father Ba, I'm here." Bai Fan Dezhang appeared, saying, "Seriously, miss, why did you come here? Didn't I tell you to wait in the room?" An Miaoyi touched her cheek, replying somewhat shyly, "I heard the flute music just now, and thought it was very nice, so I went to find the source." Fan Dezhang's eyes lit up, continuing, "Wait, you said you found the flute player? This is a real big shot who can solve all the inn's crises." An Miaoyi pulled Ye Junlin over to make introductions. "Oh yeah, this guy here, he's Ye Fan, young Master Ye." Fan Dezhang's face changed. He clasped his hands and said, "I'm truly in awe of your methods, sir." For some reason, upon seeing Ye Junlin, an involuntary shiver went down his spine. Ye Junlin chuckled. "It's nothing, really, just a few of my signature moves." Seeing Uncle Fan laying on the flattery so thick, An Miaoyi found it a tad strange. Just then, Hong Tianye and Li Wuji descended beside Ye Junlin. Fan Dezhang wouldn't dare be rude to these two fellow Taoists. After all, he'd seen their mind-blowing strength with his own eyes. Hong Tianye was about to call him Master, but suddenly heard a secret voice transmission, so he swallowed his words. With a weird look on his face, he said, "Brother Ye, everything outside is sorted, all good." Ye Junlin smiled and nodded. An Miaoyi's eyes went wide. Her eyes seemed glued to Hong Tianye, marveling at how this person was as beautiful as a fairy with such an amazing aura. "These two are," Ye Junlin started to explain frankly. "The one in red is named Wang Kuiwa, and the one with the saber is Li Tiedan." Hong Tianye's eyes bulged in disbelief. "What kind of bull is this bastard cooking up now? Wang Kuiwa? This venerable one ain't got no name like that." But when he met Ye Junlin's deep, meaningful gaze, the once glorious demonic sect leader felt like he'd been zapped by lightning. He hung his head and stammered out, That's me. Name's Wang Kuiwang." Uttering that name, Hong Tianye suddenly felt a wave of shame, and his resentment towards Ye Junlin leveled up. Li Wuji scratched his head. "Yep, I'm Li Tidan." Li Wuji was totally fine with it. As long as it was an order from his master, he'd follow it to the letter. No complaints whatsoever. An Miaoyi nodded. "A pleasure to meet you, fellow Taoists." She was especially surprised by Hong Tianye, thinking, "So gorgeous, but Wang Kuiwa, what a pity." After that, the group exchanged some polite chit-chat for a bit, and then An Miaoyi got dragged off by Fan Dezhang. Li Wuji asked tentatively, "Master, just now, you, Ye Junlin, with one hand behind his back and the other holding his flute in front of him, cleared his throat a couple of times and said gravely, 'This master believes that fake is still lurking around. Best not to spill any beans, lest we alert the hidden threat.'" Li Wuji immediately chimed in with flattery. "Master, you're a genius." Hong Tianye grumbled to himself, Yeah, whatever you say, but why the hell did I have to be, Wang Kuiwa? Are you some kind of name-ruining demon or what? Over on the other side, Fan Dezheng exclaimed with awe. This young Master Ye is really something else. He didn't even show up tonight, yet he used his flute music to take down enemies, neutralize the danger, and had those 7 Mingyuan characters dancing in the palm of his hand. Wow! Just wow! And Miao Yi, surprised, said, Uncle Fan, you're not exaggerating just a teensy bit, are you? Plus, I've noticed those other two always kinda secretly call him Master, or something super respectful. That just makes me even more sure that young Master Yi is incredibly powerful. Fan Dezheng's eyes grew even deeper. I can't quite put my finger on it, but this group, they give me a strange sense of deja vu, An Miaoyi said. Uncle Fan, you're overthinking things. Young Master Ye and his friends are good people. When Medicine King Valley opens, we can totally travel with them, Fan Dezheng replied sternly. Young miss, you can see their faces, but not their hearts. You've been cooped up in the Wendao sect for too long. You don't realize how nasty the world out there can be. Listen, if you ask me, those guys are a bit fishy. We better watch our backs. Early the next morning, people in the inn started waking up, totally oblivious to last night's events. Some even remarked on how unusually good their dreams were. Right at that moment, 100 miles away from Tianling City, a mountain valley shielded by a mysterious magical array suddenly let out a huge roar. Boom! Rumble! Blinding rays of light rocketed skywards, zillions of tadpole-like glowing symbols danced in the air, and the whole misty valley pulsed with an overwhelming pressure. Right away, every cultivator who'd been keeping tabs on things like this had their jaws drop, their eyes shining with shocked excitement. Shouts of amazement ripped through the air. Medicine King Valley's open! Medicine King Valley's open! The news shot like a rocket to Tianling City. Suddenly, Tianling City was buzzing like a kicked beehive. From the main drags to the dusty alleys, in every inn, tavern, and yeah, even the brothels, you could see cultivators scrambling to get a move on, hopping on their flying swords and zipping away. Whoosh! Swish! Swoosh! The sky was filled with the piercing sound of wind being torn apart as zillions of cultivators zoomed towards Medicine King Valley, leaving a bazillion weirdly colored light trails in their wake. And Miaoyi goggled at the gazillion cultivator silhouettes streaking across the sky, stuck her tongue out and said, Whoa! This isn't when we thought it would open. It's popped open so unexpectedly this time. Fan Dezheng, looking dead serious, grabbed An Miaoyi and poof! They vanished. An instant later, they were already 10,000 meters away. Hong Tianye and Li Wuji popped up, their voices low. Master, we should head out. Ye Junlin, cool as a cucumber, finished his bowl of kanji, took Bai Xiaoxi by the hand, strolled out of the room, and made his way to Medicine King Valley. Medicine King Valley was still wrapped in a mysterious fog, but oh man, the sweet smell of herbs was everywhere. Like it was soaking right into your bones. Tons of cultivators were standing around with dazed looks, sniffing the air like crazy, as if a couple more whiffs would send their cultivation levels through the roof. Haha, I can sense it. There are gazillions of heavenly treasures and rare herbs just waiting for me in there, one guy yelled. If I snag a supreme grade treasure herb, I'm totally hitting the Great Ascension realm. I'll be a venerable one, live for 50,000 years, and do whatever the heck I want. A top-tier heaven and earth treasure herb? Man, that fellow Taoist sure is ambitious. Someone else chimed in. Me? I'd be happy just to find a decent precious herb. Hee, but hey, this is the world-renowned Medicine King Valley? Another one added. It's not just packed with rare herbs. There's gotta be a Medicine King herb in there somewhere, right? Get one of those, and sailing through Tribulation Transcendence would be a breeze. Blast! A Medicine King, you say? That insanely rare, almost mythical kind of spirit herb? Dude, even those Tribulation Transcendence realm bigwigs would probably wage a bloody war over that thing. How could small fries like us even fantasize about it? The crowd was a chaotic mess of noise, non-stop chatter. All around the entrance to Medicine King Valley, it was a total zoo, crammed with people on the ground and hovering in the air. Cultivators from every corner of the map were buzzing with excitement, all thinking about one thing: hitting the jackpot and scoring the biggest fortunate encounter of their lives. And Miaoyi glanced around, amazed. Uncle Farron, Medicine King Valley only lets a set number of people in at a time, right? That means the competition inside is going to be absolutely brutal. The records say there are limits on how many can enter and for how long. Plus, if any cultivator is about to kick the bucket, the valley's formation will just yeet them out. Fan Dezheng, hands clasped behind his back, looked deeply moved, full of respect for how the ancient sages set things up. Generally speaking, the way the medicine sovereigns set things up back in the day was incredibly considerate. We juniors are so lucky to benefit from this kindness. It's a debt we can hardly repay. And Miaoyi giggled. Grandpa Medicine Sovereign must have been a super nice guy. Gosh, Medicine King Valley only cracks open once every 100,000 years? 100,000 years, that's like forever. Even for those cultivators who practically live forever, that's a mind-bogglingly long time. Heck, even those big-shot Great Ascension Realm experts, the so-called Supremes, only get 50,000 years on the clock. So if they miss one opening, they're definitely not sticking around for the next one. That's why, for loads of cultivators, just getting to witness this opening is a massive stroke of luck. In the massive crowd, you could tell plenty of folks were indulging in some seriously wishful thinking, dreaming of bagging a ton of precious herbs. Some were even aiming for the legendary Medicine King itself. As everyone knew, medicinal herbs came in all sorts of categories: spirit herbs, treasure herbs, medicine kings, great medicines, and royal immortal medicines, roughly in that order. And within each category, you had different grades, from low grade all the way up to supreme grade. In the cultivation world, most folks dealt with spirit herbs, but once you got to treasure herb level, you were talking stuff that big factions would go to war for at auctions. Just one of those, casually thrown out, would have people emptying their entire savings. Medicine kings. Those were almost mythical. In the entire eastern region, you hadn't heard a peep about one for tens of thousands of years. For that kind of famous grade spirit herb, forget about great ascension experts. Even tribulation transcendence masters would kill for a sniff. All of a sudden, Fan Dezheng's senses went on high alert. He quickly scanned the massive crowd, his eyes narrowed with suspicion. An Miao Yi, curious, asked, "Uncle Fan, what?" Suddenly, Great Master Ran Deng slowly opened his eyes. A hint of helplessness flashed in their depths, and a faint, almost imperceptible bitter smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Everyone at Swan Kong Temple knew that he had entered the Herb King Valley 10,000 years ago, and after coming out, he immediately went into seclusion, breaking through his cultivation. Everyone thought he had obtained a great opportunity inside, but that wasn't the case. Herb King Valley wasn't as simple as it seemed, and it concealed unimaginable secrets. Back then, many cultivators nearly had their Daio hearts collapse after coming out, living in a state between life and death, refusing to reveal what they had encountered. They tacitly understood each other, keeping the truth inside the Herb King Valley hidden. Among them, some were kind-hearted. As time passed, they couldn't bear to reveal their experiences to warn future generations to be cautious. As a result, those who knew the truth were hunted down and killed. Clearly, this was a case of, "I've suffered, so others must suffer too." Swish, swish, swish. Several figures transformed into streaks of light and landed. Li Wuji excitedly exclaimed, "Master, this is the Herb King Valley. I've heard that the valley is filled with countless natural treasures, and rare herbs that are unseen outside are abundant here. If we can refine a few precious herbs, breaking through our realms will be much easier." Hong Tianye's eyes flashed, showing great interest in this Herb King Valley. Interesting. According to the descriptions, even in the central region, this area would cause fierce competition among the immortal sects. After all, no cultivation power would refuse more cultivation resources for themselves. Ye Junlin shrugged. He was only here to complete the system's check-in mission. Even the rarest medicinal herbs were worthless to him, because he didn't need to rely on these things to enhance his strength or break through realms. Just then, an anomaly appeared at the entrance to Herb King Valley. A massive vortex quickly condensed and began to expand continuously. The crowd of cultivators rushed into the vortex like crazy people. "Hurry, get in! Charge!" Fan Dezheng pulled An Miao Yi along, his great vehicle realm aura erupting and sweeping away many cultivators who were blocking the way, then fearlessly charged inside. "Miss, let's go!" Great Master Ran Deng sighed. This was the nightmare he could hardly forget, but now he had to face it again. If he didn't fail this time, he would surely achieve enlightenment and become an immortal in the future. Great Master Ran Deng finished his arrangements and led his people into Herb King Valley. "A few of you stay behind to provide support. The rest will follow this old monk inside," the remaining people responded. "Understood." On the other side, Ye Junlin calmly entered the vortex with a few disciples. In a blink of an eye, he felt the world spinning, and countless strange runes flashed around him. Soon, they appeared on an open space. Flowers bloomed, birds sang. It was like spring all year round. The sunlight was bright, the vegetation was lush, and the spiritual energy was unbelievably rich. Ye Junlin and the others stood on the top of the hillside, looking into the distance. The rolling mountains looked like a sleeping dragon, shrouded in mist, resembling a fairyland. The Herb King Valley was indeed magnificent inside. Hong Tianye initially looked up and frowned. Then his expression suddenly changed, and he exclaimed, "What's going on, my realm?" He was shocked to find that his perfected great vehicle cultivation had somehow dropped to the most basic qi refining realm, and he was stuck at the 9th level of qi refining. Li Wuji reacted in horror. Me too! For a great vehicle realm expert, falling to the qi refining realm was unacceptable, like a wealthy merchant suddenly becoming penniless. No different from a beggar on the street. Ye Junlin couldn't believe that his mid-tribulation transcendent cultivation had also dropped to the 9th level of qi refining. This was the result of so many years of hard work. Admitting that it was a bit exaggerated, Ye Junlin's expression quickly returned to normal, and he didn't feel heartbroken at all. For him, the realm was just a number. As long as he faced a tribulation transcendent expert, his cultivation could be restored immediately. Moreover, the decrease in cultivation must be related to the Herb King Valley. Ye Junlin stroked his chin and said, "This is interesting. It seems that old Herb Sovereign is playing tricks." Ye Junlin looked around and said, "He wants to forcibly suppress our cultivation and then let us fight in this valley. It's just that the destructive power of the 9th level of qi refining is quite small, and even if everyone fights desperately, it won't affect the valley. But going from big shots to pecking at each other like chickens will inevitably feel uncomfortable. Herb Sovereign is a righteous person, and he must be doing this fairly. Now that everyone is at the 9th level of qi refining, there is no difference in cultivation or magic treasures to suppress each other." Lion Wuji shook his head and sighed. "Alas, but I can't use my sword, because the difference in realms is too great, and I can't wield it. My sword is a 9th grade spiritual weapon. I simply can't use it with the qi refining realm." A rusty-looking broadsword appeared in Li Wuji's hand, but from the faint ripples of spiritual energy, one could see that it was a magic tool. Li Wuji was secretly pleased. "Luckily, I still have this." Ye Junlin was curious. "You've kept this most ordinary magic tool until now?" Magic tools were the lowest level of magic treasures, followed by treasured artifacts, spiritual weapons, mystic artifacts, and immortal artifacts. Li Wuji said embarrassedly, "Master, I won't hide it from you. This is the first magic tool I obtained when I embarked on the path of cultivation. This sword has been with me since I was at my weakest, until now. and I still keep it. Li Wuji reached out and gently stroked the old broadsword, his eyes full of nostalgia as he muttered, "Old partner, I didn't expect that we could fight together again. How can a sword cultivator be without a sword? Having a weapon in hand is the only way to unleash one's strength. Without a sword, it's like cutting off one's own hand." Ye Junlin nodded. "That's the reason." The system notification rang. Ding! Detected that the host has arrived at Herb King Valley. "Do you want to check in?" Ye Junlin thought to himself. Check in. Ding. "Congratulations to the host for receiving a bottle of Supreme Enlightenment Tea, which can be brewed and drunk during leisure time. Supreme Enlightenment Tea. When consumed by cultivators, their cultivation and techniques will increase sharply." Ye Junlin shook his head. It was useless to him. "Forget it. It's good to take it out to quench my thirst." At this moment, Hong Tianye narrowed his eyes and stared at the silver-haired youth, secretly channeling his inner strength in his sleeves. In the past, he had to be wary of the other party's cultivation, but now everyone was at the 9th level of qi refining, which was fair. As long as he found the opportunity to strike with all his strength, how could he not defeat him? Hong Tianye had already thought of ways to torture this person, such as tying him to a tree and flogging him, burning his lips with fire. But Li Wuji's next sentence ruined Hong Tianye's plan. "That's right. I heard that if cultivators fighting in Herb King Valley are in danger of losing their lives, they will be automatically teleported out." Li Wuji held the sword, his face full of satisfaction. "So we don't need to worry. We can just fight with all our strength." Hong Tianye's mouth twitched. If that was the case, he would definitely be settled scores with after going out. After the painful lesson before, he didn't dare to risk exposing himself without absolute certainty. Ye Junlin glanced at him and saw that this senior disciple seemed unusual. He sneered in his heart, knowing what he was thinking, and let him continue to calculate. Suddenly, there was a small noise in the grass. Bai Shaoxi discovered it, raised his hand, and said with a surprised expression, "Ah, look, myriad lively medicinal herbs grew in the grass." There were leaves that reflected the light of the Milky Way, and tangled roots crawled everywhere. There were flowers like sunflowers that shone brightly with a compelling pressure, and there were foxtails that swayed gently. They all contained the essence of medicinal power, enough to prove that they were the purest treasures. One should know that spiritual wings with spirituality are relatively common medicinal materials, while treasures that have opened their minds can think for themselves and even move freely. Li Wuji laughed loudly. "Ha ha, heaven is helping me. So many treasures are coming to my door." Hong Tianye frowned. "Well, these low-grade treasures. We are all at the 9th level of qi refining, and the qi refining realm has 10 levels. They don't feel strange to the treasures. Cultivation. Treasures that have opened their minds naturally also cultivate. But even so, their natural combat power is weaker than that of human cultivators, because medicinal materials are not suitable for fighting. Their advantage is their long lifespans. As long as they hide, they can slowly cook to death those cultivators who covet them. That's also an important reason why collecting treasures is difficult." Seeing this, Li Wuji and Hong Tianye rushed forward. Li Wuji spoke. "My dear T, luckily I can suck up spiritual herbs again." Hong Tianye flew right behind him, quickly reminding, "Don't be careless. These spiritual herbs have opened their minds, and our cultivations have been suppressed. We can't be careless at all." Several mushrooms revealed sinister smiles, their laughter eerie and strange. "I want to strip them naked and make them run around the valley, ha." Another foxtail trembled excitedly. "What's so good about that? I want to make them run backward, so that these human races can taste the humiliation in Herb King Valley." These arrogant words startled Ye Junlin and the others. Li Wuji's expression was strange. What? Treasures dare to be so arrogant? Normally, they hide, afraid of being captured and refined by human cultivators. How can they be so arrogant? Hong Tianye sneered. HMPH. They really don't know how to live or die. He casually waved his hand, and a purple ball of fire flew out, dragging a dazzling aura. The white foxtail bent down, shooting out countless sharp wind blades. Boom! The wind blades and fire collided, creating a strong energy wave. Hong Tianye was a little surprised, and a thought flashed through his mind. What? For fear of burning these treasures to ashes, he only used 40% of his strength. But the power was still strong enough to suppress most qi refining cultivators, yet it was blocked by a foxtail. Li Wuji was shocked and exclaimed in surprise, "This?" Li Wuji almost thought he was hallucinating. Even he had to try his best to receive it. But the move was easily resolved. "These treasures in Herb King Valley are not simple." The foxtail angrily conveyed its thoughts. You stinky woman, dare to attack me, I will strip you naked and hang you on a tree to be." Hearing that, Hong Tianye's forehead bulged with veins as he said in a cold voice, "You want to die? Just a single piece of treasured herb, and you dare to act presumptuously before me. It's a joke for the world." This time, Hong Tianye used his magic power to unleash a powerful red flame, its might terrifying. The dogtail grass swayed madly, shooting out countless sharp wind blades that tore the ground apart, yelling, "I let the women go, but you came. I won't be gentle with you." Boom boom. The scene was extremely horrifying. It was hard to believe this was a battle between cultivators in the 9th level of qi refining. Hong Tianye felt ridiculous. To actually be wrestling with a treasured herb, he attacked even more fiercely. The dogtail grass couldn't withstand it, retreating continuously, burning in the flames, crying out, "What are you guys spacing out for? Save me! I'm about to be burned to death by this bitch." A dozen other treasured herbs giggled as if watching a play. But they couldn't just watch their own side die, so they attacked Hong Tianye together. Swish, swish, swish. Several powerful streams of energy shot over, and the powerful flame was immediately blocked. Hong Tianye's face was ugly. His current low realm meant many techniques were unusable, weakening his advantage. Li Wuji wielded his saber, performing the Chaos Heaven Saber art, and exclaimed, "Senior brother Hong, I'll help you." Although the power was weak, Li Wuji was still very strong at the qi refining realm. The situation of the battle changed. With Li Wuji joining, Hong Tianye could attack freely, continuously unleashing fire attribute spells to suppress the treasured herbs. Bai Xiaoxi cheered. Senior brother Hong, keep it up. Junior brother Li, keep it up. Ye Junlin sighed in amusement. The Medicine King Valley is indeed not ordinary. He knew that with Hong Tianye and Li Wuji's aptitude, even if their cultivation base was reduced to the 9th level of qi refining, joining forces to sweep away Foundation Establishment cultivators would be very easy. But they couldn't immediately subdue these treasured herbs, not because their strength was weak, but because the treasured herbs were strange. Each of these treasured herbs were heavenly treasures, capable of crushing most human race cultivators. And just their attacks were terrifying. This was too unbelievable. Herbs were naturally not good at fighting, only able to run away, but now they were showing extraordinary fighting aptitude. Ye Junlin suddenly thought of something. Could it be? He raised his head to look at the Medicine King Valley, and saw a faint, golden ripple flashing, and thought, if I'm not mistaken, the treasured herbs can exert such strength thanks to a formation, and the person who set up the formation is the Medicine Sovereign. The truth was clear. It was all the old geezer's trick. Ye Junlin stroked his chin. The Medicine Sovereign suppresses our cultivation while increasing the strength of the medicinal herbs. What exactly does he want to do? Suppressing everyone's cultivation to make the competition fair was understandable, but increasing the strength of the medicinal herbs so they could run rampant over the cultivators was too much. This was some childish behavior. Ye Junlin began to understand that the Medicine Sovereign opened the Medicine King Valley for 10,000 years, attracting a group of people so the medicinal herbs could abuse them. What was strange was that no one had ever revealed the truth, seemingly tacitly agreeing to harm those who came later. It turned out that because they had suffered, they also wanted others to suffer. At that moment, the battle was about to end. A dozen treasured herbs were beaten to pieces, each of them losing their minds, collapsing raggedly on the ground. The dogtail grass was charred black by the fire, a strong medicinal smell filled the air, and urgent pleas replaced its previous arrogance. Don't burn, fairy sister, please spare me. Hearing that, the murderous intent on Hong Tianye's face grew even stronger, his palms spitting out a blazing flame, burning the dogtail grass into ashes. Witnessing that scene, the dogtail grass screamed, "Old man, you'll get your retribution." Hong Tianye laughed in anger. A terrifying firework appeared in his palm. He rushed forward and swung his hand down fiercely. The sunflower shot out a dazzling golden beam, powerful enough to tear the earth and pierce mountains. But it still couldn't withstand Hong Tianye. Ah! The sunflower shrieked miserably. Its body was smashed into pieces, scattered throughout the forest. Li Wuji's footwork was nimble. His saber spun like lightning, chopping the treasured herbs into neat and clean sections very quickly. Ye Junlin said, "It's all over. Clean it up and we'll cook it into soup later." Li Wuji replied, "Yes, master." Bai Xiaoxi exclaimed, "Ah, this one is still alive." Then she squatted down to look at a severed, dry vine that was still wriggling like a snake. She poked it with a branch, and the dry vine seemed to understand its despair, using the last of its strength to bloom a small flower, then released a dazzling silver light ball. Boom! With a loud explosion, the silver light ball exploded in the sky, revealing an image of a pure white axe. After that, the dry vine helplessly fell down. No longer moving, Li Wuji frowned, seeing the image of the pure white axe. Ye Junlin revealed a strange expression. Could this be a distress signal from the axe gang? He realized that the treasured herbs had gained intelligence, and having lived in the Medicine King Valley for many years, let's see how many cultivators can handle it. I bet a ton of them are gonna get screwed over, humiliated by these spirit herbs. Hong Tianye is like, I suspect Yazun did this on purpose. How is this the work of a sage? Hong Tianye scoffs at Yazun's methods, obviously favoring these spirit herbs in the Medicine King Valley. He opens it once every 10,000 years to seem generous, but it's just a scam. He's still an immortal. Li Wuji frowns. No way! Rumor has it that Yazun does good deeds, and his medical skills are superb. In ancient times, he could bring the dead back to life. He's renowned as a great figure praised in the eastern region. I don't think he'd go so far as to set a trap. He's probably just favoring them to protect them. Hong Tianye shoots back, haha, do you even hear yourself? If he really wanted to protect them, why open the Medicine King Valley at all? Just keep it closed forever. This whole thing is a total sham. Li Wuji couldn't argue, cause his explanation didn't hold water at all. He waves his hand. Alright, let's just take it one step at a time. Ye Junlin wasn't feeling danger at all. Instead, he was curious. Now that we're here, let's see how strong these spirit herbs in the Medicine King Valley really are. Scene change. Deep inside the Medicine King Valley, on a throne made of vines, there's this ginseng-looking creature, about the size of a hand, with a golden body radiating crazy vitality. That's the golden ginseng, something way beyond ordinary spirit herbs. It's a true medicine king. Even completion tribulation cultivators would kill for it, because it's super helpful for them. Right now, the golden ginseng's all high and mighty, saying in a majestic voice, "Did someone just send out a distress signal?" One of its underlings reports. Reporting, "Ginseng King, yes." The golden ginseng coldly says, "HMPH, who dares provoke my gang? Could it be forces from outside the Medicine King Valley? No way, it's been peaceful for years. Who would suddenly attack us?" A spirit herb that looks like a cotton boll wonders, could it be the human race? It just so happens that the Medicine King Valley is open today? No way, how could those weak humans threaten our noble medicine clan? Yeah, every time they come in, we beat them to a pulp. They even try to eat us, the fools. The other spirit herbs chime in, all thinking the humans are too weak to be a threat. A surge of intense spiritual energy sweeps through. Silence for the king. The spirit herbs shut up. The golden ginseng stirs, its roots straightening like legs. Since the Medicine King Valley is open anyway, let's grab a few humans on the way. I want to see who dares mess with the herbal gang. It pulls out a silver axe, clearly a cultivator's magic weapon, raises it high, and yells, "Let's roll!" Meanwhile, the cultivators who entered the Medicine King Valley are going from excited hope to existential crisis to total despair. In just half a day, they found out their cultivation was suppressed to chi refining stage 9, and even worse, the herbs here are insanely OP. Bang, bang, bang. A willow tree spirit is whacking cultivators lying on the ground with its branches, leaving them covered in wounds, pushing them back as they try to advance. A huge, gourd-like spirit herb emits a chi refining aura. The spirit gourd smashes the middle-aged man into the ground, forcing him to crawl like a dog. The middle-aged man is completely humiliated. He used to be a transformation god cultivator. Some pretty female cultivators have been stripped naked, crying miserably among the excited spirit herbs. Everywhere you look, it's a bizarre and absurd scene. Everything's flipped upside down. The human race is a powerful force outside, but in the Medicine King Valley, they're the weaklings, getting humiliated left and right. "Please," cries, and groans echo throughout the Medicine King Valley. "Stop hitting me, I beg you. Run! The Medicine King Valley is a conspiracy, a huge conspiracy. Why didn't any of the seniors tell us the truth about the Medicine King Valley? How strong these spirit herbs really are. I used to be a top 10 genius in my sect, but now I can't even beat a plant. Is that normal?" This experience is definitely going to leave them with some serious trauma. Amidst the chaos, a group of monks from the Xuankong Monastery are surprisingly calm and collected in the Medicine King Valley. Thump. A deep bell sound resonates as a large golden bell appears, covered in intricate patterns, radiating an unshakable aura of defense. Grandmaster Randang is using the golden bell shield to easily block the spirit herbs, attacks, then lightly raises his hand like it's made of glass, instantly closing the distance and striking several spirit herbs in quick succession. Boom, 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 boom! The spirit herbs are struck by lightning, falling to the ground, silent. A disciple hurries over, excitedly picking up the fallen spirit herbs and stuffing them into his storage pouch, saying, "Grandmaster Randang is truly amazing. With you leading us, we're sure to return victorious." The Xuankong Monastery monks are thrilled, looking at Grandmaster Randang with admiration, seeing him as a god. When they first entered the Medicine King Valley, everyone was terrified and uneasy, because they discovered their cultivation realms had been reduced to chi refining stage 9, while the spirit herbs were surprisingly strong, easily defeating them. But very quickly, the venerable elder of Xuankong Monastery used his immense power to dispel their fears. In just a short time, he subdued at least dozens of spirit herbs and stuffed them into his pouch. The Xuankong Monastery monks are overjoyed. Usually, it's super hard to find even one spirit herb, but here, they've had such a massive haul in such a short time. This makes them even more excited about the adventure ahead. At this rate, won't all the spirit herbs in the Medicine King Valley belong to them? Maybe they'll even have a shot at conquering the Medicine King. The monks are happily chatting and laughing. Yeah, it's all thanks to Grandmaster Randang. When we get back to Xuankong Monastery, we're definitely getting rewarded big time. This trip was worth it. Amitabha, Grandmaster Randang, puts his hands together in prayer, chanting Buddha's name, but his eyes gleam with cunning. It's hard to miss the smug look on his face, that all the preparations he's made are worthwhile. Last time, his cultivation was suppressed, revealing a lot of weaknesses, and he was miserably tormented by these little demons. But this time, he can finally breathe freely and hold his head high. After that, Grandmaster Randang's group continues forward. They witness scenes of cultivators being bullied and mistreated by the spirit herbs. Among them are royalty, sect elders, heads of cultivation clans, people of all sorts of high and mighty positions. Around them, more spirit herbs charge in, filled with murderous intent. They all unleash their martial arts and shout, "You dare touch our spirit herb clan? This old monk will regret it." Slash, slash, swoosh. Energy fluctuates violently, stirring up dust and dirt. Grandmaster Randang sneers, bravely meeting the attack. "Good, let this old monk see what you're made of." In the next second, he's already engaged in combat with the spirit herbs. Grandmaster Randang relies on his golden bell shield to steadfastly withstand the strange attacks, while unleashing powerful fist techniques, knocking down spirit herbs left and right. The herbs cried out, "This old monk is really tough. Don't give up. Focus your attacks. In this Medicine King Valley, we are the overlords. Right, charge." Quickly, the golden bell shield is full of cracks, and finally shattered. Seeing this, the herbs grew even more excited, and attacked even more vigorously. They thought the old monk was about to suffer. Strangely enough, Grandmaster Randang was not discouraged at all. Instead, a deep smile crept on the corner of his mouth. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Inside, the light exploded, and a thin figure still stood there steadily. The surrounding herbs were extremely surprised. How could this be? This was beyond their comprehension. All they saw was Grandmaster Randang covered in a layer of golden light, and his skin also glowed, as if it was born naturally, and no external force could hurt it. In the smoke and dust, an old voice rang out in a low voice. "In order to deal with you, over the long years, this old monk has worked hard to practice martial arts, supplementing my weaknesses, traveling all over famous mountains and great rivers, using all means, and spending countless resources to train my body. To this day, this old monk's indomitable Vajra body has reached the perfection realm, only one step away from the legendary realm. So what if my cultivation is suppressed to the chi refining realm? This old monk relies on his strong body, and you can't do anything about it." Old monk Randang put his hands together in front of his chest, stepped out of the smoke and dust, his eyes shining brightly, and then relied on his indomitable Vajra body. He blocked the attack of the spirit herbs, and counterattacked. Gradually, most of the spirit herbs were suppressed, and only a few ran away in all directions. The rescued cultivators jumped up and cheered, Many people were so happy that they shed tears, knelt down, and kowtowed. Thank you, Grandmaster, for saving our lives. We will remember your kindness forever. We don't know how to repay your great kindness and great virtue. Grandmaster saved us from danger. You are truly a living Buddha. On the other side, two figures were running away with difficulty. The majestic middle-aged man was gone, replaced by a dusty figure with torn clothes, completely losing the appearance of a great elder of the Wendao sect. The fair-skinned woman in yellow, with her beautiful face and originally strong personality, was now as frightened as a white rabbit, and her brows and eyes were full of confusion. That's right, it was Fan Dezheng and An Niaoyi. Fan Dezheng really didn't expect the Medicine King Valley to hide such secrets. No matter what the previous cultivation level was, it would be suppressed to the 9th level of Qi refining. Which made no sense. It was a pity that he, a complete Great Ascension Realm powerhouse, now had his strength plummeting to the level of Qi refining, which felt like a tiger going down the mountain and becoming a cat. Even so, Fan Dezheng, who had experienced ups and downs, could still accept this sudden change, because he believed that even if his cultivation was in the Qi refining realm, as the former top genius of the Wendao sect, he could still sweep across all directions. After all, which genius nowadays doesn't challenge beyond their level? Fan Dezheng's eyes were red as he blamed himself. Young miss, I'm sorry, this old fan is useless, needing to be rescued again and even dragging you down. I'm just a burden. It was hard to imagine that this was the same grand elder respected by the Wendao sect, now looking so haggard. An Yaoyi felt a pang of heartache. It's okay, no need to blame yourself, Uncle Fan. Besides, you led the sect's group this time, so of course, I have to protect you when we encounter trouble. It's my duty as a junior. Fan Dezheng was moved, his eyes turning watery. Young miss, it's all because of this damn place. The medicinal herbs here are all so strong, it's clearly abnormal. An Yaoyi angrily punched the air, complaining, Heavens! I used to think that old man Yao Zun was a good person, but now it seems he's just a sinister old geezer. Just as the two were running away, a vine like a giant serpent stirred up dust as it wound around, then stretched towards An Yaoyi, quickly wrapping around her ankle like light. Ouch. Caught off guard, An Yaoyi didn't have time to prepare. She raised her jade-white hand, her palm shimmering with light, and forcefully struck out a beam of light, wanting to break the vine wrapped around her ankle. As a result, blue lightning flashed on the surface of the vine, not only blocking her attack, but also causing her entire body to go numb with the electrical current. An Yaoyi was electrocuted all over, her hair standing on end. She had no power to resist, and was dragged away by the vine. Fan Dezheng exclaimed in horror. Young miss. Then, he chanted an incantation, condensing several sharp sword energies, and slashed them at the vine all at once, but they didn't cause any damage. Fan Dezheng was anxious as fire, wanting to continue attacking, but another blue vine wrapped around his chest. Lightning erupted, and he flew backward, falling to the ground covered in dust. An Yaoyi regained her senses, and cried out in fear for help. Uncle Fan, save me! Hurry, save me! Fan Dezheng struggled to his feet, gritting his teeth and chasing after her. Damn it! Which medicinal herb is attacking? In an instant, the scene before him stunned him. It was a giant tree with lush foliage, with over a dozen intertwined blue vines coiling around its trunk. The entire vine emitted a turquoise light, and upon closer inspection, one could see mysterious patterns, making it look incredibly mysterious. Fan Dezheng was stunned, cold sweat running down his back. Could this be the Zhu Ji Lei Tang? Because this was clearly a middle grade herb king. Its cultivation level was already at the middle stage of foundation establishment, according to the Herb King Valley standards. This meant its power far surpassed that of ordinary precious herbs. Fan Dezheng's spirit collapsed. He could only deal with ordinary precious herbs. How could he deal with this kind of herb king? On the other side, An Yaoyi shouted in fear, Let me go! Let me go! An Yaoyi's face was pale, terrified, and she found that some snake-like vines were tightening around her. Next was a sound of thunder. Ugh! An Yaoyi in pain on her face. Fan Dezheng was disheveled and struggling. Although he was extremely angry in his heart, he was currently powerless. He could only beg for forgiveness. This herb king, please be merciful and spare us, or release this child, and I am willing to take her place. An Yaoyi gradually woke up and, seeing this scene, choked with sobs. Uncle Fan Zhu Ji Lei Tang continued to attack. Haha, it wasn't easy to catch you guys. You think I'll let you go? You humans, why are you so naive? Look, this woman is enjoying my electricity so much. Seeing this scene, Fan Dezheng was so angry that he spat out fresh blood, his angry eyes staring at the Zhu Ji Lei Tang. The Zhu Ji Lei Tang played around without getting tired, and it controlled several other vines to shoot out lightning, saying, Looks like you're not convinced. The Zhu Ji Lei Tang was extremely arrogant, and it was very skilled, because in the long years, it had played with many people like this. An Yaoyi was electrocuted again, screaming miserably, her heart filled with pain and despair. Fan Dezheng was trembling with anger. He had never been humiliated like this before, and he gritted his teeth and said, You! The Zhu Ji Lei Tang was extremely excited. Fun, so much fun. Humans are the best toys. Just at this moment, several figures approached, and Bai Xiaoxi's voice was heard. Shifu, I heard a woman scream. No doubt she's being tortured by medicinal herbs. Inside, there's a little older sister tied up, and she looks very painful. Ye Junlin heard the voice and looked over, stunned on the spot. Heavens, what kind of picture was this? In Ye Junlin's eyes, An Yaoyi was tightly bound by the vines, her soft figure even more prominent, and her expression was embarrassingly indescribable. Occasionally, the vines would release electricity, accompanied by screams, making people shudder. Fan Dezhang noticed someone had arrived, turned his head, and the light of hopelessness suddenly turned into hope, as if he had seen a savior. He didn't know why he felt these people were very reliable, and he quickly cried out for help. Fellow Taoists, please help us. Once this matter is over, our Wen Dao sect will definitely repay you. Hong Tianyé's eyes lit up. Hey, this is a Juji Lei Tang, a good item. This is a middle-grade herb king. Li Wuji gripped his saber tightly, his eyes burning with ambition. Whether to save people or not, they wanted to seize this herb king because the benefits were too great. Ye Junlin was indifferent, but since it had come to this, he might as well let these two test the Juji Lei Tang's strength. Ye Junlin's expression was serious, and he said in a deep voice, Miss Anne, you have a connection with me. How can I bear to stand by and watch? Go Wang Kuiwa and Li Tiedan. This sentence had the commanding tone of someone summoning a pet. Hong Tianyé's eyes twitched, and he cursed inwardly. This guy, does his entire family need face? Who orders people around like that? Li Wuji seemed very familiar with it. He waved his saber and rushed forward, tossing back a sentence before leaving. Wang Kuiwa, remember to help me. Hong Tianyé's eyes widened in disbelief. You, this dog, still has strength. Taking a deep breath, he tried to raise his voice and shout, Li Tiedan, I'm coming to help you. Two white figures turned into a beam of light rushing away. The Juji Lei Tang saw the cultivators coming to save them, and not only did it not get angry, but it was happy. Ha! This is bringing new toys for this daddy. Hong Tianyé's eyes were full of murderous intent. Wait till you're burnt to a crisp, and let's see if you can still laugh. Then, his right hand chanted an incantation, shooting out a brilliant flame, with the power to penetrate the hardest metal. Swish. A blue vine tore through the air, carrying extremely terrifying blue lightning. The vine smoked black, charred a patch. The Juji Lei Tang felt pain and flew into a rage. Ah, damn humans! Dare to hurt this daddy! It controlled several other vines to attack at the same time. Each vine exuded a clear lightning, as if heaven's thunder was guiding it, and its power was extraordinary. HMPH. Li Wuji cast his saber technique, and the saber light was dazzling as he fought with several vines. Hong Tianyé found the right time, and continued to chant an incantation in the void. Several blue fireballs flew out, falling on the vines, forming a thick layer of ice, slowing down the speed and causing more damage from the cold. The Juji Lei Tang was forced to get angry, releasing the vines that were binding An Yao Yi. Clearly, this herb king was going to fight to the death. In the chaos, Fan Dezhang pulled An Yao Yi back, watching the two figures fighting with the Juji Lei Tang. Their hearts were battered like a boat in a storm. Among them, An Yao Yi was the most shaken, saying in her heart, so strong, so strong. Even in the same realm, the difference in strength is still so big. She was the strongest talent of the Wen Dao sect, praised and admired by everyone since she was young. Even when she met Hong Tianyé and Li Wuji at the Dragon Gate Inn, she thought it was just due to the difference in realm. An Yao Yi thought to herself, if she cultivated to that realm, her strength might be even stronger than theirs. But the scene before her directly shattered the arrogance in her heart. They were both at the 9th level of Qi refining. She had a spirit immortal body, and could barely deal with ordinary precious herbs, while they could already fight against a herb king. It would be foolish not to recognize this difference. An Yao Yi was disappointed, and her voice was weak. Uncle Farron, you and my father both lied to me. I'm not a genius like you said at all. Fan Dezhang didn't know how to retort, honestly. When he initially sought help from Ye Junlin, it was just a desperate gamble. Who knew the guy would just send 2 people and already push the 9 Tribulation Lightning Vine this far? Their strength and potential are just too damn high. At this moment, the 9 Tribulation Lightning Vine was absolutely furious. It's been living in the Medicine King Valley for so long, and it's the first time it's encountered such tricky human cultivators. It roared. This daddy vine will definitely bind you all and shock you to death with lightning. Rustle, rustle, rustle. A dozen vine tentacles snaked around, unleashing terrifying lightning bolts, forming a cage to trap Hong Tianyé and Li Wuji. The two were like headless chickens, struggling a lot, and Miaoyi's heart pounded. Oh no, are they not going to make it either? Fan Dezhang frowned and remained silent. On the other side, Bai Xiaoxi blurted out anxiously. Senior brother Hong and junior brother Li are in danger. Chirp chirp, let's go save them. With that, she dashed forward. Ye Junlin, who was observing, was slightly surprised to see the white hamster suddenly make a move, he thought. Finally wants to show off her combat potential, huh? The two were besieged by a dozen vine tentacles, and the situation was very unfavorable. Li Wuji gritted his teeth and said, Damn it, I underestimated the advantage of the Medicine King Valley. It's hard for me to deal fatal damage to it. He tried to activate his demonic bloodline, but there was no reaction, probably due to his cultivation being suppressed. Hong Tianyé's face was pale. This was even more uncomfortable than being bullied by that guy. After all, he was a child of destiny. A fight is a fight. Now he was being controlled by a herb. Something that's supposed to be medicine has this much power. Suddenly, Hong Tianyé noticed something and said in surprise, Why is this silly hamster running over here? Li Wuji was worried. Hey, it's dangerous here, senior sister Bai, get out of here. The 9 Tribulation Lightning Vine sneered. Huh, you little critter dares to join the fun? Perhaps I should treat you even more gently. It controlled a vine tentacle, wrapped in lightning, and fiercely struck towards her. A dazzling golden light radiated from Bai Xiaoxi's entire body, carrying a holy aura. She used her small, white hand to grab the terrifying vine tentacle, then forcefully pulled it and shouted, Don't underestimate chirp chirp. Snap, the vine tentacle was torn apart, spraying out green liquid. The 9 Tribulation Lightning Vine emitted a powerful mental wave, and everyone heard a miserable scream in their minds, the cultivators exclaimed. Serves you right for being cocky. Bai Xiaoxi's entire body shone brightly. Each punch and kick seemed unstructured, but were simple, yet powerful, containing profound Daoyo intent. The originally sturdy cage was shattered by this small hamster, and the vines were sent flying. The 9 Tribulation Lightning Vine wailed in pain. Hong Tianye thought in astonishment. Is she faking it? That hamster only knows how to follow people around and eat good food. Li Wuji swallowed his saliva. Senior sister Bai is so strong. Actually, Li Wuji used to see Bai Xiaoxi as just a pet when he first joined the sect. Hey. An Miao Yi and Fan Dezheng gasped, their scalps tingling. In their eyes, the small, cute hamster wearing a hat and a short skirt was directly beating the 9 Tribulation Lightning Vine until it couldn't handle it anymore. Ye Junlin smacked his lips in praise, thinking, as expected, the power of the #1 immortal physique in the myriad realms is extraordinary. With the Grand Luo immortal physique and top-tier cultivation techniques, Bai Xiaoxi unleashed her terrifying combat talent for the first time. Thanks to Bai Xiaoxi breaking the situation, Hong Tianye and Li Wuji were like gods assisted, and the raging flames crashed over like surging waves, and the blade light and sword shadows flashed. The 9 Tribulation Lightning Vine never expected to fall into this situation, assaulted by a storm of attacks, and the two juniors, Hong and Li, attacked while shouting, damn you, damn your whole family. The 9 Tribulation Lightning Vine completely exhausted its vitality and collapsed limply to the ground. Bai Xiaoxi cheered happily. Awesome, I won. The little girl happily ran to Hong Tianye, put her hands together, stood on tiptoe, and had a dazed and adorable expression, obviously wanting the senior brother to praise her. Hong Tianye snorted coldly, flicked his sleeves, and walked away. Seeing the little hamster was so strong, this proud devil sect leader felt uncomfortable, seeing Bai Xiaoxi running over. Obviously showing off, of course he couldn't show a good face. Seeing her senior brother ignore her, Bai Xiaoxi lowered her head dejectedly, tears welling up in the corners of her eyes. Chirp, did I do something wrong? Cough. Li Wuji pretended to cough a few times, with a sincere expression. Senior sister Bai, you are so awesome. Li Wuji had always considered Bai Xiaoxi to be just a spirit animal, but it turned out that was just on the surface. Li Wuji thought, indeed, those who are accepted by Shizun are not ordinary people. Hong Tianye had to frown and reluctantly praise. Well, I was quite impressed with you today. Hearing people praise her, Bai Xiaoxi was very happy in her heart and said a little shyly, actually, it's nothing. Chirp, just wanted to help. An Miao Yi recovered and pulled the middle-aged man over and said, let's go and thank them quickly. An Miao Yi spoke up. Thank you, fellow cultivators, for your assistance. Miao Yi is very grateful. Li Wuji cupped his hands and said, fellow Taoists, you don't need to be polite, it's just a small matter. Hong Tianye still had a cold face and said nothing. An Miao Yi looked at Bai Xiaoxi, but because the hat covered her face, she couldn't see clearly. But An Miao Yi was sure she was a very cute little girl. An Miao Yi said, may I ask what this fellow Taoist's name is? Bai Xiaoxi was stunned, pointed to herself a little surprised, and said, sister, are you talking to Chirp? Hearing this way of addressing herself, An Miao Yi found it very interesting, and said with a smile, Chirp, of course, you are very powerful, I admire you very much. Hearing this, Bai Xiaoxi jumped up excitedly and shouted excitedly, Shizun, did you hear that? This sister admires Chirp. Chirp is also admired. Fan Dezheng blurted out in his mind, Shizun. His eyes lit up as he looked at the handsome silk. Suddenly, a chaotic racket echoed from the distance. Ginseng King, there are humans here. Those battle shockwaves just now were totally their doing, eh? Wait, isn't this the Thunder King's turf? Out from the woods, a gazillion tiny critters with the weirdest shapes zoomed over. And man, they absolutely reeked of potent medicinal herbs. Every single one of these things, if you could somehow take it outside, would sell for an unbelievably sky-high price. Fan Dezheng's face showed horror. So many precious herbs. If it were before, seeing them would have made him ecstatic. But after everything that just happened, he couldn't help but be afraid of seeing any more medicinal herbs. He might need a long time to recover, even after getting out. HMPH. Ye Junlin narrowed his eyes slightly, sensing a powerful aura from these different precious herbs. Before long, hundreds of precious herbs of different shapes were closing in, exuding a fierce aura. Leading the charge was a ginseng plant, its entire body like flowing gold, its cultivation reaching foundation establishment perfection, much stronger than the 9 Tribulation Thundervine. The Huangjing ginseng emitted intense mental waves, filled with anger. You humans dare to kill my little lie? The little lie that the Huangjing ginseng was referring to was the 9 Tribulation Thundervine. Clearly they had a close relationship. Hong Tianye's eyes lit up, unable to restrain his excitement. This place is indeed a treasure trove. To think I'd encounter a medicinal king of this quality. If I can obtain it, I will have a chance to break through to Tribulation Transcendence, Li Wuji pondered. This plant is much stronger than the last one. I wonder if we can swallow it. The Huangjing ginseng held a silver axe in its hand, roaring angrily. How dare you base humans dare to dream of obtaining this king? It decided to use the most severe punishment to teach these ignorant fools a lesson. Seeing the silver axe, Yi Junlin understood. So it's the gang from before. The Huangjing ginseng shouted loudly, charging forward. Capture them for me! Following the Herb King's order, a swarm of precious herbs launched an attack. Fan Dezheng's scalp went numb, his whole body trembling like a leaf. Ye Junlin found it strange, thinking to himself, they're here, the medicine's here, this fellow Taoist's mental state is worrisome. Li Wuji tentatively asked, Senior Sister Bai, can you lend us a hand? The Huangjing ginseng swung the silver axe, emitting a strange sound, slashing fiercely forward, its aura as fierce as a bandit. Immediately after, Hong Tianye and Li Wuji simultaneously attacked, to meet the swarm of precious herbs. Keng keng, a crisp sound rang out. The Huangjing ginseng was stunned. Before it was a tiny figure, looking like a mouse, a tiny hand covered in a dazzling golden light. Looking as if it couldn't be broken, Bai Xiaoxi said seriously. Your opponent is cheap here. The Huangjing ginseng was furious. A violent life force erupted, its whole body radiating a dazzling golden light, shouting, "Just you!" An invisible force amplified this herb king, making it incomparably powerful. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the Huangjing ginseng transformed into a golden beam of light, as fast as the wind as it encircled Bai Xiaoxi, constantly launching fierce attacks, the silver axe swinging continuously, leaves falling everywhere, dust flying. After blocking more than 10 moves in a row, Bai Xiaoxi's steps began to falter, her head spinning, waving her hands helplessly. She spoke up. "No more fighting, cheap, no more fighting, cheap is too dizzy, I'm gonna be sick." The Huangjing ginseng laughed coldly, gathering power to swing the axe toward Bai Xiaoxi, HMPH. "You wanna fight this king? Your Dao cultivation is far from enough." Kang. A deep metallic sound rang out. The Huangjing ginseng suddenly stiffened, a feeling of fear emerging. It choked, as if facing an ancient ferocious beast. Before it were 2 fingers gently pinching the blade of the axe. Crack! The axe shattered, fragments flying everywhere, its magic weapon destroyed. Ye Junlin held up 2 fingers in a V sign, smiling. "I'm just saying, you're just a ginseng, yet you're so arrogant and conceited it seems only making you into ginseng soup will make you behave." Bai Xiaoxi stabilized her body, looking up at the white-haired man, her voice full of disappointment. "Shifu, cheap made you lose face." Ye Junlin rubbed her head, smiling. "Don't overthink it, you go help them. Leave this place to me." Bai Xiaoxi, like a small puff of smoke, rushed to assist Hong Tianye and Li Wuji. A Dezhao was full of anticipation. "Uncle Fan, Yi Gongzi is about to make a move." Fan Dezhang stared at the black-robed figure, feeling his eyebrows twitch incessantly. This person gave him an unfathomable feeling. The Huangjing ginseng roared. "You human brat who still smells of milk, dare to spout nonsense in front of this king. Let's see how I teach you a lesson." The Huangjing ginseng clenched its fist, rushing forward with the speed of an arrow, leaving a deep pit on the ground. Its roots transformed into fists, each punch landing, the golden light dazzling, radiating a terrifying power. Boom! The surrounding air exploded, the sound resonating to a creepy degree. Just as Ye Junlin was about to act, the system's voice rang out. Ding! Detected host, being attacked by a Foundation Establishment Perfection enemy, activating passive effect. Stronger when facing the strong. Cultivation reaching early golden core. Immediately after, Ye Junlin's realm, which was suppressed at Qi refining level 9, suddenly increased powerfully to early golden core. Ye Junlin didn't know what to say, exclaiming, "Good stuff, this place works." In the next second, Ye Junlin gently raised his hand, a streak of palm light like a flying dragon soaring into the sky, surging with power. Boom! A loud explosion. The Huangjing ginseng, as if struck by lightning, the roots deeply embedded in the ground were pushed back more than 100 zang, leaving a deep trench with smoke billowing, its entire body dripped with liquid, a strong aroma spreading, its mental waves fluctuating violently, incomparably horrified. Suddenly, Ye Junlin's cultivation returned from early golden core to Qi refining level 9, as if what just happened never existed. And Di Yao widened her eyes, murmuring, "Uncle Fan, just now Ye Gongzi's cultivation broke through to golden core?" Fan Dezheng was like a lost soul, answering uncertainly. It seemed like it, because Ye Junlin's cultivation is still at Qi, refining level 9 at this moment. The outbreak of golden core cultivation only happened in a flash, to the point where Fan Dezheng couldn't even be sure if he had seen it wrong. The Huangjing ginseng adjusted its state, its heart full of shock mixed with doubt. "Human, what tricks did you play in the end?" As the one directly engaged in the battle, it was certain that this white-haired youth had something unusual about him, because in an instant the opponent's cultivation suddenly increased to early golden core. This was the peak cultivation in Herb King Valley. In Herb King Valley, all kinds of spiritual herbs rely on quality to increase their cultivation. For example, low-grade precious herbs reach Qi refining level 9. Top-grade precious herbs reach Qi refining level 12, and Herb Kings reach Foundation Establishment. And so on. Moreover, since ancient times, all humans who entered Herb King Valley had their cultivation suppressed to Qi refining level 9, without exception. But now, there was an exception. In the battle with it, this person suddenly increased his cultivation to early golden core. The Huangjing ginseng was confused. What was going on? Ye Junlin said sincerely. "I'm clearly just a small Qi refining cultivator. What tricks could I play here? It's obvious you're too weak. If you don't believe me, try hitting me one more time." He wanted to test his hypothesis. Hearing this, the Huangjing ginseng felt insulted, immediately turning its roots into fists, its entire body bursting with sharp golden light, its aura burning. "Despicable human, taste this king's Huangjin fist." Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The small fists wrapped in golden roots constantly shot out like shooting stars, each punch carrying an aura that shook the heavens and the earth. The fist winds howled, the power so great that just sensing it would suppress people. Fan Dezheng's face turned pale, shouting loudly, "Too strong! The Huangjin ginseng is capable of wiping out all Qi refining cultivators." In his estimation, even golden core cultivators outside would find it difficult to deal with, let alone those suppressed in Herb King Valley. Facing the dazzling golden fists that were rushing in densely, Ye Junlin stood still, his expression calm. In his mind, the familiar sound of the system rang out again. Ding! Detected host, being attacked by a Foundation Establishment Perfection enemy, activating passive effect. Stronger when facing the strong, reaching early golden core. The corners of Ye Junlin's mouth curved up, seizing the opportunity to unleash the human king seal, muttering, It really is like that. Boom. A giant emperor phantom appeared behind him, the terrifying pressure like a tide sweeping over. The dense golden fists disintegrated. The golden ginseng was struck by an invisible force, flying backward like a kite with a broken string, crashing heavily to the ground. At the same time, Ye Junlin's aura rapidly declined, dropping from early golden core stage back to chi refining 9th level. Farron Dezhang was stunned, feeling like his perception was turned upside down. No mistake, just now Ye Gongzi's cultivation had indeed reached the early golden core stage. How could this be? And Yao Yi's eyes sparkled. Could it be that he has a unique secret technique? The golden ginseng, covered in blood, or rather liquid, lay prostrate on the ground, gasping, "Treacherous humans, you tricked me." Yi Junlin feigned innocence, like a virtuous person being wrongly accused. "Heaven and earth bear witness, I only have chi refining cultivation right now." Through the battle just now, Ye Junlin knew that his cultivation increased due to the passive effect of getting stronger when facing a stronger opponent, which helped him forcefully reach the early golden core stage. As for why it dropped back down, it was clearly due to the suppression from the Medicine King Valley. As expected, the system is truly professional. In another corner, the scene that just happened immediately attracted the attention of other precious herbs. The little guys witnessed their boss being defeated by a human, and their mental waves immediately became chaotic, frantically exchanging with each other. "Impossible! How can humans be so strong? It's been so many years since we've encountered this. Wu Wu. Is the Medicine King Valley about to face disaster?" Li Wuji expressed his admiration from the bottom of his heart. As expected of Shizun, even though his cultivation is suppressed to our level, his strength is still something we can't reach. Hong Tianye stood there dumbfounded, his spirit heavily struck. He felt the terrifying power of this Medicine King. If he faced it alone, he would definitely be suppressed miserably. But that guy casually made a move and easily defeated it. The difference between the two sides is really too great. Hong Tianye screamed in his heart. Clearly, both are at the 9th level of chi refining. Why are you so strong? Why? The funniest thing is that he even had bad intentions at first. Luckily he gave up in time, otherwise he would be the one suffering. The golden ginseng forced out its last resentful words with mental waves, then fell completely silent. "Human, I hate you." The other precious herbs immediately lost their fighting spirit and fled in panic. "Run!" Even so, there were still countless, dazzlingly colored precious herbs on the ground, dazzling people's eyes. Li Wuji rushed forward, swinging his knife, grinning with excitement, and said, "What a great harvest!" As Ye Junlin prepared to call the disciples to check the spoils, he spoke up. "Zhao Li, you did a great job. Keep these precious spirit herbs safe." Being praised by Shifu made Li Wuji extremely happy. The young man bowed down to pick up the spirit herbs, hugged them in his arms, squinted his eyes, and smiled. "Yes, thank you for your praise, Shifu. It's all thanks to you subduing the golden ginseng, disciple. This is all based on your aura." Suddenly, a dense whistling sound came, like a large group of people were flying over. The lively chatter rang out. "Look, there are so many precious herbs on the ground. Heavens, who took these down? Could it be that besides Ren Dengdashi, there is another senior in Medicine King Valley who can do this? There are a few people in front. It seems like they did it." Countless cultivators flocked to the scene, looking at the colorful pile of precious herbs on the ground, their eyes bursting with ambition, but then containing awe. They understood the strength of the precious herbs. Defeating such a large number of them, the person who made the move must be unimaginably powerful. They couldn't act rashly. A monk from Xuankongxi floating in the air tentatively asked, "Dashi, look." Rendeng Dashi glanced over the battlefield, noticed a golden ginseng, his eyes lit up. "That is an extreme-grade Medicine King." Boom! The crowd was shocked. Everyone understood the value of the Medicine King. This was something that even tribulation-transcending cultivators would covet. Now there was an extreme-grade Medicine King right in front of them. If it was placed outside, surely the old monsters hiding in the eastern region would fight fiercely for it. Whoosh! An elder of Xuankongxi immediately rushed over, intending to take the golden ginseng, but was immediately attacked by a sharp blade energy, blood splattered, and was immediately blown back to his original position. Li Wuji shouted loudly, his face ferocious. "Is it yours, Scram?" The terrified shouts of the Xuankongxi crowd rang out. "Elder Huitong!" No one expected that in broad daylight someone would dare to attack their elder. Ren Dengdashi checked the wounds of Elder Huitong. His murky eyes flashed with killing intent. The surrounding atmosphere seemed to cool down a few degrees. Ren Dengdashi put his hands together in front of his chest, his face gloomy as he looked towards Li Wuji. "Amitabha, well done, well done. Does this benefactor know that he just hit someone from our Xuankongxi?" He deliberately emphasized the 3 words, Xuankongxi. Li Wuji glanced sideways, angrily saying, "So what if I know? Do I still have to show respect to you baldies and lighten my blow?" Don't even mention whether he has someone backing him. Even before becoming a disciple, he was someone who didn't care about anything. He would kill with his blade. Not directly chopping off the opponent's head was already being considerate. The Xuankongxi team shouted in unison. Arrogant and reckless, not knowing the immensity of heaven and earth. Ren Dengdashi narrowed his eyes, his forehead filled with killing intent, and coldly said, "Benefactor, these words are too much." Li Wuji spun the cleaver in his hand, assessing him from top to bottom, sarcastically saying, "Old baldy, it seems you're not satisfied. Or should we try a little?" Ren Dengdashi didn't speak. A fellow disciple behind him stepped out and shouted, "Presumptuous! Who do you think you're facing that you dare to talk so recklessly? Do you know that this is a tribulation-transcending stage expert? Have you thought about the consequences of offending him?" As soon as he finished speaking, the whole place erupted. Countless cultivators showed awe, even though they had guessed that this person must have very high cultivation, but they didn't expect him to be a true immortal. Even though Medicine King Valley has many big shots, No one dares to compare with a tribulation transcending stage expert. In the eastern region, tribulation transcending stage is already the pinnacle. They can run rampant anywhere. Although everyone is currently suppressed in Medicine King Valley, the time to teleport out will come. At that time, the strong and the weak will return to their correct positions. Therefore, when they learned of Rendang Dashi's true cultivation, the cultivators behind him didn't dare to say much. Li Wuji was stunned for a moment, then sneered. Tribulation transcending stage, so what? Don't even mention being here, I'll still chop you down outside. The atmosphere was dead silent. Everyone showed an unbelievable expression. Is this guy crazy? A hint of doubt flashed in Rendang Dashi's eyes. The opponent knows my cultivation, yet still dares to speak so arrogantly. It seems that he is not an ordinary person outside. Thinking of this, Rendang Dashi probed, calmly asking, May I ask for the benefactor's name? Li Wuji laughed coldly. Listen carefully. This granddaddy's name is Li Tiedan. Everyone looked at each other. Li Tiedan. They had never heard of any powerful figure with this name, yet he dares to confront a tribulation transcending stage expert. Seeing this, the surrounding sects all shook their heads. Rendang Dashi was certain that this was just an ignorant junior who didn't know the value of life. His expression immediately became gloomy. Benefactor, your killing intent is too heavy, let this old monk purify you. After speaking, he rushed over. His two hands formed a seal, creating a lotus flower that attacked like artillery shells. This move was extremely powerful and terrifying. If it was a normal Foundation establishment stage cultivator, they would definitely be seriously injured or killed instantly. Li Wuji became excited. Great, it's a rare opportunity to fight against a tribulation transcending stage expert. Swish. The blade slashed across yin and yang. Blade energy shot out in all directions. Rendang Dashi's pupils shrank, feeling intense pressure. Boom! The air exploded. Rendang Dashi took 2 steps back, his face a little ugly, but it didn't stop there. A blade of light as bright as day rushed over again, carrying an unparalleled domineering blade intent. Great Master Rendang, not daring to be careless, quickly formed an incantation seal with his right hand and unleashed a powerful palm strike. A dazzling golden, wan, symbol, Buddhist swastika, blazed to life on his palm. The two sides fought fiercely, unable to determine the winner, causing the spectating cultivators to be stunned. No one expected Li Tiedan to be so strong, able to directly confront Rendang Dashi. Li Wuji's eyes were bright, endlessly excited, refreshing, so refreshing. The cleaver in his hand swung like a storm, looking like it had no rules, but in fact it contained subtlety. Grandmaster Rendang was getting more and more annoyed. He couldn't overwhelm a junior with his strength. Finally, he changed his tactics. One hand erected in front of his chest like becoming Buddha, his whole body erupted with brilliant golden light, as if cast from metal, perfectly flawless. Clang, clang, clang! The sound of metal collisions rang out densely, shaking everyone's eardrums until they buzzed. Li Wuji was shocked to find that no matter how much strength he used, he couldn't cut through the opponent's body. Those sharp strikes were all blocked by the layer of golden light, Grandmaster Rendang said smugly. Benefactor, don't waste your energy. Even if you chop for 3 days and 3 nights, you won't be able to do anything to this old monk. Seeing this, Li Wuji snorted coldly and spat on the ground, so arrogant. Grandmaster Rendang was furious, feeling severely humiliated, and immediately poured his strength into a punch, the force of which shattered the surrounding trees. With his indestructible diamond body, he was indeed invincible, but it only stopped there, because he couldn't knock down Li Wuji, and Li Wuji couldn't hurt him either. Even if the two fought for 3 days and 3 nights, it would be difficult to determine a winner. Everyone went from being terrified at first to being bored later, and some even yawned. Boom! With a loud explosion, the two figures retreated at the same time, widening the distance tacitly. Li Wuji snorted and mocked. Old Baldy, are you still cursing? Grandmaster Rendang was displeased, but because of his identity, he tried to maintain a mysterious appearance, put his palms together, and chanted Buddha's name, saying, Benefactor, why bother doing this? After all, we are only temporarily here. The words were light, but contained a clear threat. You think you're cool fighting me to a standstill here? If you have the guts, stay here for the rest of your life. If you go out, just wait to die. Li Wuji was about to retort, but suddenly heard a voice in his ear, and immediately fell silent, respectfully retreating to stand beside Ye Junlin. Ye Junlin flicked his fingers leisurely, his voice as light as a breeze. I've already obtained this medicinal herb king. For the people from your Xuankong temple to come and snatch it is just not knowing the rules. Getting beaten is what you deserve. Grandmaster Rendang narrowed his eyes, his voice cold. Benefactor, from the moment you made your move, the nature of the matter has changed, and who stipulates that what falls to the ground belongs to you? In this old monk's opinion, only what's in your hand is yours. After speaking, he stepped forward, his whole body erupting with dazzling Buddha light. There were countless Sanskrit characters around his body. Like tadpoles, the sound of chanting sutras echoed in all directions. He was heading towards that high-grade medicinal herb king, clearly wanting to rely on his powerful defense to directly ignore Ye Junlin's presence and brazenly seize it. Hongseeker's eyes burned with anger. Old Baldy, you want to die. Honger never liked Buddhism, and now seeing Grandmaster Rendang being so arrogant, the intention to take action arose in his heart. Grandmaster Rendang took steps of 10 feet each, and still said calmly, as compensation, this medicinal herb king will belong to this old monk. Just then, a tall and graceful figure suddenly appeared in front of him. This person clenched his fist. The blood in his body surged. The spiritual energy within 100 zang was gathered, and a faint golden halo appeared behind him, exuding an ancient and desolate aura. Ye Junlin sneered, Old Baldy, you really think no one can deal with you? Boom! Ye Junlin threw a punch like a dragon roaring and the earth collapsing, carrying the momentum of breaking through the 9 heavens, unstoppable. This was the battle saint first. This punch made Rendang Master tremble. His whole body could not help but tighten. He took a deep breath, frantically mobilized his magic power, and his whole body exuded a dazzling and sacred Buddha light, as if wrapped in a halo. Ye Junlin's punch carried a mad force, directly hitting Rendang Master's chest. Clang. The sound was like striking a large bell. The heavy sound echoed throughout the space, causing the blood in everyone's body to surge, making them extremely uncomfortable. Swish. Rendang Master's body was pushed back. His 2 feet dragged on the ground, creating 2 deep grooves, and hot air rose up in billowing waves. It was difficult for him to stand firm. The old face still maintained a calm appearance, not revealing a trace of emotion. The space instantly fell into silence. Everyone stared at each other, holding their breath to watch. A Chan cultivator in the Xuankong Temple team sneered and said, "You dare to flaunt your meager skills in front of Rendang Master?" A fellow disciple beside him immediately echoed that. "That's right, it's just a lot of thunder and little rain. If you have the ability, try again." Ye Junlin looked directly at Grandmaster Rendang. The corner of his mouth lifted, his tone full of sarcasm. How did that last punch feel? Grandmaster Rendang still maintained a calm expression, and after a long silence he sighed, "Amitabha, benefactor, please take care of yourself." After saying that, he decisively turned and left. Everyone was stunned. Is it over like this? The Chan cultivators who came with Rendang Master looked at each other blankly, but in the end, they could only silently follow. As for the cultivators who were watching, their eyes looked at Ye Junlin and his disciples with pity. After all, if they didn't provoke anyone else, they went and angered a transcending tribulation stage powerhouse. When they left the Medicine Herb Valley, they would probably have a hard time keeping their lives. Therefore, all of them avoided Ye Junlin's group, as if they were afraid of meeting a plague god, choosing to follow Rendang Master to seek safety. In their eyes, embracing this big thigh was the wisest choice. Very quickly, the surroundings became deserted. Ye Junlin flicked his fingers lightly and smiled coldly. If he were to take a few more punches, he'd probably lose face, even if he didn't die, so choosing to temporarily avoid them was the best option. But at the same time, he couldn't help but wonder, just who the heck is that guy? How can he unleash so much power in Yiwang Valley? Has the world changed so much that even this old monk can't keep up? Grandmaster Randang's old eyes flashed with confusion, but it was quickly replaced by a chilling, murderous intent. Fine, monks should be compassionate, but once I leave this place, I'll definitely personally send you all to the afterlife. Outside Yawang Valley, with my peak tribulation transcending stage power, I can freely use all my powerful Buddhist divine abilities, and fully unleash my Vajra indestructible body. Why should I suffer such humiliation here? However, right now I still need to focus on gathering herbs. I'll settle this debt later. Not long after, Ye Junlin and Grandmaster Randang's appearance stirred up a huge storm in Yawang Valley. The little critters who got the news immediately became uneasy. Before, every time humans entered, they treated it as entertainment, easily suppressing and teasing them. They enjoyed this cat-and-mouse game, thinking of themselves as the rulers of the humans in Yawang Valley. But this time, the situation completely changed. News spread that the humans were sweeping up a bunch of precious herbs and killing a lot of their kind. Even 2 highly respected, long-lived herb kings like Lei Wang and Sen Wang had died at the hands of human cultivators. This made the remaining herb race terrified and anxious. What should we do? I'm afraid of being caught by those humans and cooked into soup. Haven't the humans always let us play with them as we pleased when they enter Yawang Valley? What's going on now? Heavens, even Lei Wang and Sen Wang were captured, let alone herb races like us. Run! The only way now is to wait for Yawang Valley to automatically close, and those scary humans will be teleported out. Waves of spiritual energy spread throughout Yawang Valley, filled with fear and anxiety. The herb race was completely in chaos, because they had never encountered a situation like this before. Among them were those who wanted to surrender, believing that the safest way now was to hide in secluded places, avoiding human attention. The one who spoke was a blood jade flame bone bamboo, its whole body as red as blood, shining with a dazzling, glazed color. When this species is made into medicine, it can detoxify all kinds of poisons in the world. I don't accept this. Why should we run? This is our territory. For so many years, humans have been enslaved by us. Are we supposed to retreat just because of one defeat? Stand up and resist. A small crimson star ginseng the size of a palm. This is a top-grade medicinal material for refining healing pills. Its whole body bright red, jumping up and down excitedly. That's right, we are the masters here. If we bow our heads and surrender this time, it will be the greatest humiliation of the herb race. A cold spirit Euralian flower. This is an unparalleled holy medicine for cultivators with ice spiritual roots, shaped like a lotus flower. The petals shimmered with a cold, icy blue color, and it said with doubt, "But this time the humans are too strong. Relying only on herb king level power, we're not sure if we can counterattack, and we might even be suppressed." These words caused the space to fall into silence. All the herb kings present were lost in thought. They were unwilling to suffer humiliation, but they were also afraid of the humans' strength. After all, even the most powerful leaders like Lei Wang and Sen Wang had died. According to the accounts of a few who managed to escape, the one who attacked was a silver-haired young man. He defeated Sen Wang with just one move, and his power terrified everyone. After a long silence, one of the herb kings finally spoke up and suggested, "Why don't we ask it to take action?" The herb kings were stunned, then quickly understood. Is it trustworthy? In Yawang Valley, no one is more worthy than it. After all, it was once a companion of Yao Zun, but with its personality, I'm afraid it will refuse. HMPH. Now is the time when Yaowang Valley is facing destruction. If the first successor of Yao Zun doesn't care, does it deserve to be called a member of our race? Sounds reasonable, we won't know until we try. Let's go, we have to convince it. With the decision made, the Herb Kings immediately took action, quickly heading in one direction. Deep within Yaowang Valley, there was a long, narrow path between the mountains. Those herbs decided to go find the strongest one. The air around was humid and cold. Anyone who stayed here for a long time, no matter how cheerful, would easily become depressed. At this time, a group of small creatures were hopping around anxiously. They arrived at the end of the canyon, and what caught their eyes was a large black mushroom growing on an ancient stone pillar covered in vines. The mushroom was about 1 meter tall, looking extraordinarily ordinary. Only the herb race in Yaowang Valley knew that this mushroom was the oldest creature here, possessing an unparalleled noble status and position. Currently, the mushroom was silent, without any signs of life, like a dead object. The Herb Kings looked at each other. They immediately released intense waves of spiritual energy, like eerie calls. Wake up, Great Devil King, wake up quickly. Not long after, the black mushroom stirred, like an ancient life that had just awakened, emitting a terrifying pressure. The Herb Kings bowed down and paid respects, extremely excited. Look, the Great Devil King is awake. Greetings, Great Devil King. We beg you to save our fellow demon race. The Great Devil King's spirit began to recover, and its whole body emitted surging vitality. The powerful aura made all the Herb Kings only look up to it. This was an ancient creature that had existed the longest in Yaowang Valley, had once witnessed Yao Zun ascending to the immortal realm, and was only a small step away from becoming an immortal herb. Suddenly, the terrifying pressure vanished. The Great Devil King trembled and unexpectedly fell off the stone pillar, causing the Herb Kings to panic and rush over to check on it. But unexpectedly, the mushroom, like a startled rabbit, immediately darted behind the stone pillar, only showing half of its round head. Its fluctuating spirit was weak, carrying a timid voice like a teenager. Don't come here, you can just stand there and talk if you have something to say. Seeing this scene, the remaining Herb Kings all turned to look at each other, their eyes filled with helplessness. Since Yao Zun ascended to the immortal realm,